Hello everybody, Nick Nocturne here. For any of you who are confused, the following content is the bulk of Everyman Hybrid Explained Parts 4 and 5, which have been edited, combined, and re-uploaded so viewers can actually watch them. For about 2 years, the original versions were completely fine, but this month it seems the companies behind Frank Sinatra's music decided that now was a good time to change their policy, and so they put a worldwide block on my videos for just 3 minutes of music out of an hour-and-a-half video. Yeah, because my 3 minutes were really that badly infringing on their rights. Anyhow, as a consequence, the intro storyline pieces meant for a bit of fun had to be cut, and I've had to make small cuts in the videos themselves to avoid whatever original EMH uploads had the offending pieces. Most of all, you guys are going to know I love you after watching this because in going through it, I had to hear how my audio and vocal style used to be on the channel, which caused me severe agony and embarrassment. Oh, the things I do for this gig. You know how hard it was for me to listen to myself in the past just now? Worse than it's gonna feel for you watching. If anybody wants to use super chats during this premiere, I'll try putting the money towards a time machine so I can go back and give myself proper coaching. Anyway, that's the deal with this upload. Copyright sharks just turned more evil than they already were, ruined a 2-year run on the content, and I had to re-upload. But hey, now we all get to have a little party together, so here's to us. When you're done, you can carry on to EMH Explain Part 6. And I promise you, the finale, a true comprehensive Part 7, is in the very near future. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Back to the Purple Void.
Welcome back to Night Mind, friends. It's time to check in on the Everyman Hybrid boys once again and see how they're holding up in spite of recent events. When we last visited the EMH crew, they delivered a video summarizing the first half of their summer, in which Habit sent a personal video to the guys showing the feral white monster that's hunting Alex taking a body away. In addition to this, a photo of Evan and Dr. James Corinthall was discovered, which Evan can't remember taking. And finally, the 4th of July saw a major lack of proper fireworks that was made up for in blood as Evan apparently slaughtered a deer in the woods. It's not entirely clear what happened. Both Vinnie and Jeff were present, but they can't quite remember what transpired. On the same day the recap was uploaded, Habit delivered his final Morse code video, finishing the coded message. In this video, the biggest bomb yet was dropped in the reveal that Evan, Jeff, Vinnie, and Stephanie are all trapped in a vicious cycle of reincarnation overseen by Slender Man. These are not the standard reincarnations as the term is commonly understood. Instead of assuming new identities, lives, and homes, all 4 members of the group return as themselves with very little changes, and it seems as if they're reiterating in the same time period too. The best metaphor would be something taken from one of the gang's favorite activities, video games. Whenever our characters on screen fail their own mission or die in the act of carrying out a level, they respawn at the start point, forced to repeat their actions until the quest is complete. The full nature of the reiteration cycle is unknown. It's not clear how long this has been happening, if there have been any moments of true success, and if they're truly stuck in a single point in time for their reincarnations. After all, the group existed as themselves in the 1970s as the adopted children of Dr. James Corinthall, and from that point, we don't know what happened to bring us to the present day. On top of that, Corinthall seems to have been up to a lot of shocking activity since the death of his children, and the erratic behavior has yet to be explained. The greatest mystery, however, is what Habit has to do with all of this. Why is he helping us understand what's happening? Why is he playing with the EMH crew? Who or what is he and what does he want? Perhaps the answers to the Habit questions can be found in the packages he's been sending. It would certainly help to find the rest of his 7 boxes. Lucky for us, a very special bonus package arrives shortly after the final Morse code video, with the promise of even more to arrive just before it.
Surprise, bitches! Say we're to have 2 electronic files in my possession. 2 files you'd be interested in. What would you do to help the EMH fools out?
Responses began to come in from Habit's followers attempting to win the special files. Meanwhile, Rabbit number 108 uploads a video showing she'd already won something. Habit had sent the Jester's prize to her, and this one was the real deal. Habit even made it personal by marking the box to let her know it was a birthday gift. Inside, she received Evan's Bioshock 2 t-shirt seen during what may have been the first iteration glitch. There was also a silver rabbit necklace, another piece of the mystery message the guys had been clued into, and a Corinthall letter. The mystery message piece held an extra addition at the bottom, plus 133. At last, we have all 4 pieces of the note and can decipher what it's meant to say. The first piece came from Alex's room during the video last week / taking it back, picked up by Jeff from the floor. The next was found in Habit's package to Rabbit number 98 for his victory in round 1 of the 7 trials. The third was sent to Noah Maxwell of Tribe 12 in Florida, and now the fourth in the real version of the Jester's Prize. Together, they read, Shade's password to the unreliable narrator, plus 133. The phrase is a reference to the novel Pale Fire, which served as inspiration for House of Leaves. Again, that novel makes its appearance in Everyman Hybrid, showing its influence in whatever's going on here. The character of Shade in the novel speaks to the character of Kinboat and offers him a single phrase as a password, pity. What's interesting about this selection is the context in which the password appears. Shade and Kinboat are speaking about the sins of man. They start with the 7 deadly sins, and Shade says, without 3 of them, pride, lust, and sloth, poetry might never have been born. They then go on to discuss original sin and the incident of Cain killing his brother Abel. After delivery of the password, pity, Kinboat asks of Shade, but who instilled it in us, John? Who is the judge of life and the designer of death? Shade replies, life is a great surprise. I do not see why death should not be an even greater one. What's remarkable about this selection becomes clear when you remember that Habit chose it. The only other piece of literature he's presented, The Summoning of Everyman, deals with precisely the same subjects as discussed between Shade and Kinboat. The sins of man, the judgment of God, and the inevitability of death. We have not 1 but 2 pieces of literature now attributed to our Everyman crew by Habit to further our understanding. When you take into account the other bits of written material, the Corinthall letters, we can trace the religious material back to the Fairmount Children's Home version of Vinnie, who was allegedly molested by a priest and later suffered fits of blurting out biblical verses according to Dr. Corinthall. If we rewind all the way back to the very first video on the channel, another connection can be made.
What's going on, Internet? I am Vinnie Everyman, and this is Everyman Hybrid.
Out of all 3 of our original crew members, only Vinnie is referred to as the Everyman. Then, during Habit's final Morse code video, the conversation that takes place between the guys seemed to indicate again that Vinnie is the Everyman. They have to protect the package, Vinnie, and to do so, they had to handcuff Evan.
What's holding up? You're doing good. Remember, Jeff, I have any keys, so if anything goes down, you gotta protect the package. Every man, you gotta jump in front of him, throw him into the woods and run.
Vinnie reminds Jeff he has to protect the package, Everyman. Evan makes a joke telling Jeff that protecting Everyman involves jumping in front of him, and Jeff mentions throwing him into the woods and running. Both Evan and Jeff are referring to Vinnie here. Vinnie is Everyman. So, where does that leave the roles of Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian? If Vinnie is the Everyman, that may take him out of the position to be any of the 3 unless he's wearing 2 costumes at once. Otherwise, the roles have to be linked to Jeff, Evan, and Stephanie. There's evidence to speak of in this debate later on. For now, keep in mind how strongly Habit's trying to show us connections. The selection from Pale Fire is meant to tie in with the Summoning of Everyman through its themes and discussion. The Summoning of Everyman through its themes and discussion is highly religious. And through the non-fiction documents Habit provided, the Corinthall letters, we know the only character in this story that fits the role of being both religious and an Everyman is Vinnie, with evidence provided from 3 different angles. Now, speaking of Corinthall letters, let's get to the document granted to Rabbit number 108 in the Jester's Prize. This one isn't like any of the others. It's written by a student under Dr. Adam Roberts, Corinthall's old colleague from Fairmount Children's Home. The student describes how Dr. Roberts has asked him for help in assisting an old colleague who sent him a piece of strange material for radiation imagery study. The student performed the task and reported finding a unique energy form that this machine assigned the title of Sigma Radiation to. From the odd behavior of the material, the student assumed he had been brought a scrap from some kind of experimental weapon. In the middle of his experiments, the student was visited by Dr. Roberts' colleague who asked what he had found. The evidence was inconclusive, impossible to determine what they were dealing with. In the end of the document, the man asked if they could at least build something that detects the energy signal it gave off. Back on Twitter, a viewer who had become internet friends with Jeff won Habit's survey by saying he'd even work against the EMH boys to get his hands on the prize. Habit delivered 2 links to the files, revealing that he'd gained access to the EverymanHYBRID Media Fire account. The password had been changed to the same one Shade gave to Kinboat in Pale Fire, Pity, plus the number 133 as written on the piece from the Jester's Prize. Inside was a file titled Dubious, which, surprisingly, turned out to be a Minecraft level. At the end of the level was a new password which gained access to the second file, 1995. Inside were 2 Corinthall documents dated July 22nd and 23rd in 1995. The first details Dr. Corinthall's visit to a medical conference in Florida at which Dr. Roberts was in attendance. He ended up opening the floor to discussion of the Mining Town 4 case, ultimately resulting in Dr. Corinthall being accused once again of killing his children. Roberts tried to stop me from storming out. I may have punched him. I had to leave that forsaken auditorium, which was adjacent to the facility's pediatrics ward. I noticed a young boy with sloppy brown hair receiving stitches in his arm. There was some family, the attending nurse, and a police officer present. This caught my curiosity. I forgot about the rubbish concerning the fellows meeting and stopped in to listen. Something about plunging from a park ranger's tower, playing a game, not his fault. Man made him do it. My veins ran cold at the nonchalant statement. I may have shoved the questioning policeman aside to talk to the boy. He greeted himself as Milo. Dr. Corinthall decided to meet with Milo's parents the next day to see if he could assist with the issues regarding their child. His journal entry begins as follows. Maybe I am just seeing patterns or possible leads in desperation. I do not care anymore, honestly. This young boy, Milo Asher, is incredibly unique compared to the other children I've spoken with since I've lost my own. He is not unusually talented or gifted or anything of that nature at all. Curiously enough, he is remarkably average as far as children are concerned. However, the way he speaks about his dreams, that is what sets Milo apart from the others. On the way to the house, I had stopped in at a craft parlor and purchased a small key and lock journal for the boy. The way he spoke out at the hospital led me to believe that he enjoyed stringing words together regardless of what he was actually saying. I was correct. He was extremely surprised and eager to mess around with it when I took it out of my bag. He rapidly came to the realization that a key and lock journal required an actual key to properly work with. We would have to speak before he received the key. He was relatively easy to work with. He didn't avoid the questioning, he didn't duck around corners or advert the situation on hand. Without me even mentioning it, he brought up dreams and the recurring nightmares he had been having. His other doctor had simply dismissed them as night terrors and of no medical concern. This was, of course, overlooking the fact that a seemingly sentient entity had told young Milo to leap from a ranger's tower in a park. The discussion led to the key player, subtle pun intended, in that beloved phrase that seemed to be popping up everywhere in my personal history. Man. The man made me do it. Man doesn't like to share, etc. I could not possibly overlook this detail. It screamed of parallels between Milo and my own children. In an almost whimsical nature, Milo described this creature. Tall, lanky in structure, dozens upon dozens of branch-like appendages, a completely featureless face. I remembered my children's various pieces of artwork from over the years. Just before I sat down to this diary entry, I dusted off my old chest and re-examined the kids' old pieces. Evan's picture book, Stephanie and Vincent's drawings, Jeffrey's short stories. Briefly sweeping over them, there were numerous hints towards this tall man. Milo seemed frightened of this man, but also held a sense of, let's just say, concerned respect. Accepted inevitability. This worried me a great deal. He didn't seem eager to rid himself of this man. More so that he accepted this as how things would be and could not seek an accommodating change from its standing. He went on to tell me that this man had a particular plan for him, for other children too. They were all to go on a great journey together. The way Milo described it, it seemed like a vacation, disregarding the melancholy nature in which he told it. I felt incredibly foolish asking him this, and I still do for recollecting it, but I asked him. I asked him if he knew any of my children. Any children named Evan, Jeffrey, Vincent, or Stephanie. Almost expectedly, he didn't. A television that was on in the living room unexpectedly shot up to maximum volume and then promptly turned off. Mrs. Asher muttered something under her breath, and I heard her rise from her seat to examine the piece. The silence between the peculiar incident concerning the TV and Mrs. Asher's comment was occupied by this dull buzzing noise that seemed to be emitting from the entire house, almost as if a microphone was just nearly too close to its speaker. Milo's attention suddenly perked up and he told me that he knew my children, contradicting his previous uncertainties. They've already been there, Doctor. I asked Milo what he meant. His attention snapped yet again and he stared at me curiously. He had no idea what I was talking about. I thanked the boy and his mother and was on my way. I promised to be back in touch with them soon. As soon as I had entered my car, I broke down sobbing for a few moments. What the hell did the boy mean? They've already been there, Doctor. They've been dead since 1981. I cannot do anything to change that. Milo was confused. I can't go off of an impaired child's offhand comment in order to chance the impossible. I won't risk dragging Linny back into this. She has her own life now. But what did that mean? They've already been there. Does this mean that they have left this place? That they've escaped? On a rather curious side note, as I left the house of Asher, I noticed something across the way. There was a torn piece of black cloth gently pinched to a dying thorn bush that had caught my eye. I pulled the burlap-esque material from the plant and felt suddenly lightheaded. This cloth gave my skin the sensation of a soft vibration and made me feel slightly ill. I was going to take it to an old friend to see if he could make any sense of it. That piece of black cloth is the very same material brought to Dr. Roberts for study in the document from the Jester's Prize. The student examining it had been right in thinking his sudden visitor was the owner of the material. It had been James Corinthall, checking if there was any word on what he found outside Milo Asher's house. As for his statement at the end about building a device to detect its energy pattern, the Sigma radiation, he got his wish. The black box device found in Corinthall's storage was the machine he had asked for, and it makes its true nature known to the Everyman Hybrid group in their next video, Sigma. Alex is over Evan's house while he holds the camera. Evan thanks him for coming over and allowing him to stab his thumb for the purpose of this video, then remarks that he's surprised Jeff let Alex leave the house after dropping some recent rules. Alex admits he's actually snuck out and not to tell Jeff. Then the video is cut off by black and white sideways footage of Jeff telling Alex something very different than "don't leave the house without me knowing." He tells Alex that he doesn't want him being around Evan without him present. It certainly doesn't seem to be footage Jeff would record on purpose, and nothing Evan would put in the video himself. The video reverts back to Evan's basement where he agrees to have Alex home quick and get on with his point.
Internet, here's what I brought all of you here for. Don't touch! No, I was kidding, you touch it. This thing. When we found it, we had no fucking idea what it was, what it did. To be honest, I still really don't, but Jeff kind of does. Thanks to some notes or something that you guys gave us. Something about this thing detects some kind of like Sigma radiation, something like that. Don't throw my knives around, please.
Oh, sorry.
But it ticked in the storage facility when we saw him, like right there. It was going crazy. It was, and apparently this Sigma radiation comes off of the Slender Man. He emits it like, I don't know, BO or something. Again, I don't know too much about what that means, but I've been fiddling with this, and here's what I found. I got this idea back when my arm got clawed up at your house, and we were running through your house, and I was bleeding all over the place, which I apologize again for, by the way. I went past this thing, and it started just going like, and making noises. So I'm thinking, that's a little weird. So I snagged this from your brother's house a few days ago. And here's what I found. This is a bit of your blood. Okay? Yep, over there. This is a bit of my blood. Now check this out. Remember, this thing detects some kind of radiation. Nothing. Hey, you are radiation free. Congratulations.
Sweet.
My blood.
Oh, that's weird, dude. Dude, that's weird.
Just in case you think it's glitching up. It's not. Apparently my blood has fucking radiation in it or some shit. I don't know what that means. And it's kind of unsettling to think, hey, you know, same kind of radiation that comes off of BO from monsters. Fucking wonderful. It's just some creepy shit, man. Unnerving as hell, you know what I mean?
Can't say I'm happy that I found out my brother snuck out through a damn 3-minute video on our own account. But no harm, no foul, I suppose. I'll talk to Evan tonight about the blood test? Ordinarily, those two tweets should read in perfect succession, one after the other with a possible minute or 2-minute interval, right? However, that wasn't the case with these tweets. The first came on July 27th. The second arrived on July 31st. Time seems to have expanded between the arrival of these tweets, but Jeff doesn't seem to have intended that. This hasn't happened before. It's as if Jeff leapt forward in time without realizing it while typing his reaction, and he doesn't even know. In fact, time seems to keep dragging itself out between tweets as the next one arrives on August 11th over a full week later. Evan, Vin, Steph, and myself all tested positive for whatever the hell the black device detects in our blood. With the kind of discovery Evan had made in the proximity of everyone to his house, why did it take so long for everyone to gather and get tested? Something more is happening here than we're actually seeing. Shortly before this incident and the Sigma video, Habit also let some information slip through Can You See the Words? He releases a blog post written from the perspective of a 20-year-old man named Nicholas living with his dog, Chowder. The post is titled, A Little Ongoing Experiment of Mine. Nicholas writes, "Every day, I think about killing myself. I've tried 8 times in the last 3 days, but now my will is gone. The faceless man won't let me, and the habit just laughs when I try. They walk around my house like it's theirs. The habit leaves often to do God knows what, but the faceless man, he's always here. Sometimes I can't see him, but I do see the wooden furniture rotting and I see the trees outside my house dying. I only catch glimpses of him sometimes, but he's always watching me. My parents are gone, so is my little sister. I can still smell their blood. The habit made sure I watched my parents bleed, but my sister Anna is just gone. All I got left is Chowder. He's kinda chubby, but he's awesome, always at my feet. I don't know if that's to comfort me or to hide from these things. I found out today that my mother was raped in order to create me. I think I should be upset, but the faceless man calms me. I feel nothing but the deep emptiness because of him. Hollow, thoughts a bit scattered. The habit tells me, Nick, old buddy, I'm gonna make you a fucking animal. Something for your mother to be proud of. He raped my mother, and he smiles at me. Today, the habit killed Chowder. Chowder ran, but I caught him. He's too fat. He stuck his fingers in Chowder's eyes and Chowder cried. The habit pulled off his head like it was nothing, like his neck was made of tissue paper. I knew it was the habit, but Chowder knew it was me, and he didn't understand. Despite the faceless man and the calm emptiness, I cried. The habit says to me, "That a boy, Nicky, you'll be ready in no time." I ask, ready for what? He says, ready to fight something. I ask, what am I going to fight? And he says, someone you used to know, Nick. I want to see how well he's doing. You see, he's an experiment, Nicky, like you. I'm sorry, whoever I'm supposed to fight, but I'm strong as shit and big as a motherfucker. The habit will make me kill you. I don't want to, but I will. I tried to kill myself again 3 hours ago. He just laughed. The faceless man just watched. Habit's communications continue with his next tweets, an exciting moment for all of his surviving competitors.
Get ready, rabbits. Your final and 7th trial will be released in mere minutes. Trial 7. Keep your body breathing.
No further instructions were delivered to clarify what habit meant. If there was an obstacle that would challenge the final trial, it wasn't made obvious. At least, not on Twitter. On Tumblr, however, Habit used "Can you see the words" to provide one more article of insight from an outside source. The last of Roger's notes concerning a rather handsome beast. Roger Palladino. Notes on the Habit. Roger Palladino's journal entries indicate he was hunting Habit in the summer of 2004 and had been on the trail for 5 years. He begins the July 25th entry by stating he's found a survivor of one of Habit's attacks, Monica Schwartz. Roger's attention was brought to Monica after Habit used her husband to hurt her. In what way she was hurt, Roger doesn't tell. She was told by Habit of a warehouse nearby that, upon investigation, held everything Roger was looking for. Newspaper clippings of murders and terrorist attacks dating back farther than he ever expected, as well as Nazi propaganda and a lot of human remains. In preparation of his confrontation with Habit, Roger provides us all with the facts he knows for sure. Habit can possess one or multiple persons. He has little to no regard for the people he inhabits, in some cases mutilating his host for intimidation or some kind of sick pleasure. He has the ability to push the human body to its farthest limits of speed and strength and will find a new host body if he's fatally wounded. This category falls under the criteria of traumatic head wounds, spinal cord damage, and other severely fatal or debilitating injuries. Unless killed, there is no way to forcibly remove Habit from his host body. It's a good thing Roger delivered his field notes before going to the warehouse. From the rest of the post, we find that Habit had caught him and forced Roger to write about what happened. Upon entering the building and attempting to subdue Habit, Roger ended up on the business end of a fire axe with his foot caught in a bear trap. His last resort, a SWAT team call, came in time for Roger to survive so he could see their efforts. I laid on the ground and that thing just looked at me and said, "Was it worth it, Roger?" And when light filled the windows behind it and they all blew out, I just smiled and said, "Yep." Problem was, it didn't get scared. It just smiled back and turned toward the light. I think that's when the music started. I forget the guy who sings it, but that song Super Beast just started playing from the speakers in the warehouse. It was so fast, but I remember smoke filling the room as they came in, and I remember them yelling, demanding the weapons be put down. Then the inevitable. I heard some of the men chuckling to themselves real nervously. The Habit just started walking towards them. That's when the shooting started. I got the bear trap open just as bullets started flying. They hit everywhere, but I stayed low, made for the door. Bullets don't scare me. I've been shot at before, but what did scare me was the distinct sound of a fire axe slamming through helmets and the screams of confused men who were probably wondering why their teammates were shooting them. I made my way outside and was taken to Ed. I was just about to tell him what he was up against when the front doors flew open. It walked out with about 3 officers escorting it. The Habit was pretending to be under arrest, hands behind its back and that grin on its face. Ed wouldn't listen. No one would. It didn't take long for this thing to have everyone in the whole goddamn place killing each other. Some of them were just laughing like the SWAT team. Others were begging to be stopped, and some were just tearing out their own eyes and throats. The music was so loud it almost muffled the screams. Almost. I puked, and when I looked up, the chopper was falling from the sky, but I saw something in the explosion. I saw it just for a second, but it looked like a person, easily 12 feet tall and thin, with arms as long as its body. I swear I saw it again while typing this, but it doesn't matter. The Habit knocked me out and I woke up here. And here, I'll die. So that's basically what happened to me. I made sure that I left in the cool parts like it asked. Not like I had a fucking choice. Funny thing is, I really thought that this one was gonna put me on the map. Oh well, I always knew I was gonna die on one of these jobs. But before I go, I should mention to anyone else who might read this. The Habit is trying to make something. Some kind of perfect shell to live in. The shell I saw it in died shortly after the fight but survived much more abuse than it should have. Just know that if wounding its head or heart past a normal human being's limits doesn't kill it, you should run the fuck away. Well, it's here now. I guess this is it. Whoever you are, good luck, and goodbye. The final entry from Roger Palladino only proves the notes he's taken are true. Habit managed to turn a whole SWAT team against itself, making men fire on each other while putting a fire axe through combat helmets. He's capable of taking a host body while also driving others to commit evil actions around him. And while his last host body was exceptional, taking much more abuse than it should have before dying, he's still looking for the perfect vehicle to operate from. This blog post took place in 2004, which means Habit may have found his proper body since then or has been borrowing others on his way to the right shell. The case of Nick in the last blog post becomes easily understood with Roger's info in place. Habit is using him as a temporary host, pushing him to commit atrocities in his own home as a test of compatibility. Today, the Habit killed Chowder. Chowder ran, but I caught him. He's too fat. He stuck his fingers in Chowder's eyes and Chowder cried. The Habit pulled off his head like it was nothing, like his neck was made of tissue paper. I knew it was the Habit, but Chowder knew it was me, and he didn't understand. Despite the faceless man and the calm emptiness, I cried. Notice also his mention of the faceless man. It certainly seems to sync up with Roger's description of a 12-foot-tall person seen through the helicopter crash. If this character sounds familiar, it ought to. Habit's been alluding to Slender Man's presence in his previous entries on Can You See the Words all along. Nick saw him in the last blog post, Johnny saw him before that, and Dawn was delivered to him by Habit personally. Habit has been traveling with Slender Man through time, working with him in what seems to be a definite partnership. Slender Man's reward in their arrangement is clearly the children Habit helps procure through his family murders. Slender Man's method of operation certainly seems to be child abduction if the cases of Milo Asher and the original Fairmount Children's Home EMH crew are anything to go by. As for what Habit is getting out of the partnership, that remains to be seen outside of what Slender Man's done during Habit's murder sprees. He apparently provides life support and mental anesthetic to Habit's victims and host body experiments, keeping them calm or extending their life until Habit finishes his work. Habit goes entirely silent on Twitter and Tumblr after delivery of Roger's final journal. Similarly, very little action is seen on the Everyman Hybrid side until September 17th when the truly unexpected video lands.
Alright, go ahead.
Hey guys, it is Vin again, and right now we are on our way to pick up someone named Noah Maxwell from the train station. I don't know if any of you have heard of him, but he seems to be having the same predicament, or being in the same predicament that we are.
Predicament.
So we got an impromptu meetup. We just called him a couple days ago, and he contacted us back, and
he's visiting family in the area.
So we decided to pick him up from the train station, ask him a few questions, and I'm gonna get back to driving. Yeah, I'm getting back to driving, so I'll see you guys later.
So, who wants to play Padiddle?
Nope. Not in the car.
Francis.
Appreciate the offer.
Oh yeah.
Check this Camaro.
Oh, what do we got here?
Slow down, dude.
What? Oh hey.
Hey guys, what's going on?
We're having a little bit of car trouble.
Oh alright.
All right.
Any cables?
Yeah, I think so. I think I got some in the back. Just let me. Yeah, I'll flip around and
Yeah.
I'll see what we can do.
Alright, I'm just gonna go see about cables in the back. I'll be over inside.
Alrighty.
Hey, gentlemen.
Hey gentlemen, how's it going?
How's it going?
Good, man.
Thank you so much for stopping.
Thank you so much.
No problem, no problem.
We will never probably
before.
be stranded here.
The strangers our EMH crew stops to help out are actually Chris and Alex from Dark Harvest, another Slender Man series that takes place in New Jersey. We'll be exploring their story in the near future, but for the moment, the group helps out the stranded newcomers, or attempts to begin helping until the car seems to turn itself back on.
You know what? Maybe if I try to push it.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well,
Magic.
yeah, magic.
I told you guys, magic.
We didn't
My key's
get
not
your
even
names.
Jeff.
I'm Vin.
Alright.
Alex, you guys.
Evan, nice to meet you.
Jesse.
Alright,
That's
your brother's name
That's
is
Vin.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh,
Evan,
no problem, guys.
Hey,
Good luck on your travels.
Thank you
Have a
guys.
good one, gentlemen.
That was weird.
That was weird as shit.
Yeah, anytime. No problem.
Didn't do anything.
The guys head on to the train station to pick up Noah and aren't driving around for too long before they spot him.
Platform and living's easy.
Making a left, I think. Oh, Evan.
What the fuck?
Evan.
What?
There he is.
Oh, hey. Hey, Noah.
Come on. It's us.
Noah, what's up?
What's up, man?
We are the Everyman Hybrid crew. It is nice to meet you.
I'm Vin.
Hey guys.
This is
I'm also
Evan.
filming it.
Take your stuff.
Alright, I got my suitcase and that's about it. Yeah, we can throw that on
All
the
right,
back.
cool, yeah.
How's the ride
Yeah,
out?
Oh, that was good.
A lot of traffic.
Cool.
Yeah, you know, train traffic.
You alright?
Yeah, I'm fine, bro. Just,
Afraid of trains.
yeah, afraid of trains.
All right, well, if you don't mind, we're gonna go back to my house and ask you a few questions. And you can do the same to us.
No problem.
Yeah, we'll get something to eat.
I only have like
All
3
right,
minutes
it's
left.
recording.
You guys look goofy as shit pointing your cameras at each other.
I can't believe I'm laughing about this.
Ready? Boom.
Tip.
It's the only way it'll
Done.
keep you sane, man.
Okay, I'm gonna shut mine off.
The letter that we've got found from the media fire with the password that was given to us from the Minecraft map. Noah has the actual,
by the physical package.
Yeah, in
that
case
has
you
the
guys,
actual,
in case
has
you
the
guys
actual
don't
letter.
know me, I'm Noah Maxwell. I live in Florida.
Yep.
I was sent this containing that, and
Which seems to relate to us.
Yeah.
So here he is.
That's right. The burnt document in Noah's envelope from Habit is a copy of the Corinthall journal about meeting Milo Asher in 1995, which Habit gave away to viewers through the Everyman Hybrid Mediafire account. This meeting was arranged entirely by Habit, just as he aligned the past of Stephanie from Can You See the Words in the Hybrid guys during their first year of activity. The file Vinnie mentions is provided in the video description. As Jeff stated, in preparation for their meeting with Noah, the guys went through all of Corinthall's material again to see if they could find anything pertinent to the situation at hand. The result was one document from the year 1990. I feel uncomfortable. It's been 2 weeks since I've dreamt at all. The silence has been incredibly nurturing. However, this afternoon I fell asleep in my sunroom just after reading some novel. It wasn't a night terror. It wasn't images of my family. It was just odd. Visions, glimpses, flashes of a man and a woman, complete strangers to me, having sex. These scenes were cut between a conversation that my Lenny was having with good old William, a conversation that seemed to predate whatever episode I had accounted for of Lenny's a month ago. I can't recall the whole conversation, but it was all very confusing. No, Lynn, you weren't blood-related. Yes, you all seem to get along very well. I know. You're right, the resemblance is uncanny. It just doesn't feel right. If you're going to go, just be careful. I'll call you if I find anything that can give you a little bit of insight. I know how insane it must all sound. Lenny left William and dear Rose to find someone. She was confused about her former sibling's life and demise. Someone who seemed to know about them as well. Maybe it's time to rethink the scope of my investigation. Silence continues on all fronts from here except for YouTube, and from the presentation of the next video, it almost seems as if other avenues of communication have gone dead from interference rather than neglect. The video uploaded on November 1st has a distinct marking before it's even played. A title in all capital letters, Halloween Hangover.
That's Jeff.
From here, the video turns to Habit's usual formatting of jump cuts between events. Jeff's story in this video entails examining Jess's necklace before retrieving a bottle of pills from his dresser. He takes them all, attempting to overdose in an apparent suicide attempt. Vinnie is seen through a grainy series of cameras in his home. His dog detects something in the house, and after going to investigate, Vinnie encounters Slender Man in a hallway. In his attempt to run away, he finds a door out of the basement blocked by Slender Man and falls down the stairs, only to pick himself up by grabbing the bathroom door handle. He closes it behind him and hides, but comes down with slender sickness and begins coughing blood in the sink. Vinnie lays on the floor until suddenly disappearing. All through this, footage is taken of a flood in the nearby park slowly overtaking the shore. The water keeps rising until it engulfs the bottom of a park bench. Stephanie's metaphor about Slender Man's influence is shown in reality as Vinnie is overcome by the sickness in his own home. Finally, a clip is shown of Evan and Vinnie going to visit Lexi, Vinnie's new girlfriend, who he met at the library during their investigation into James Corinthall.
I'll tell you, man, this is probably one of the... No, fuck that. The only good thing to come out of this. You know, I feel normal. It feels almost like it did before all this shit went down. You know, when I'm with her, it's nice. It's calm.
It only gets better, brother.
How would you know?
Well, you
Kidding.
know, Steph's been living with me. We've been
Oh, yeah?
connecting. I mean, emotionally connected.
Right, yeah, oh, yeah, of course, of course.
I don't...
Oh, no.
Alright, well, maybe she was just waiting for us.
I don't think so.
Apartment. Nope.
Fuck. Turn on the lights around the corner. Get that switch. Oh, shit. Lex? What are you doing? Lex? Oh, are you kidding? Shit. My roommate's not home. What? Oh, no. What the fuck was that?
Go outside and call the fucking cops.
I'm filming. Oh, shit. Fuck. Are you fucking kidding? You're gonna put me on hold? No, okay. Fuck you. What the hell was that noise? What was that scream? Evan?
We're fucking leaving.
The next video uploaded is titled Outside Help, again in all capital letters. It opens with footage from May 18th, 2010, and Evan is talking to the group's friend Nick about the Slender Man break-in at Evan's house. Back then, the crew still thought it was a prank, and because they'd used Nick before to help them with their Slender Man gag in the early videos, they presumed it was him. Nick denies being the one to break into Evan's house, and the matter is settled between them. The scene shifts to a very short compilation.
Hello, Evan?
What's up, brother?
Evan, what the fuck is going on? Hello?
Yeah. Jeff didn't tell you?
No, he called me and told me that you sent Steph over to his place because shit was going down at yours.
Shit. Well, I don't know how to explain it, but I guess I'll just give you the brief story. Do you remember Nick?
Yeah, Nick is pretty hard to forget. He's built like a monster and as big as a house. Yeah, I remember Nick.
You're fucking right, he is, man. Or he was.
Oh, what do you mean he was?
Well, Nick broke into my house tonight.
Holy shit. He broke in like, hey, joking around, like we thought he did last time, or he actually broke into your house?
He tried to kill me, man. He goddamn near did it, too. Man, I'm fucked up 6 ways to Sunday, Steph said me probably broke 1 or 2 of my ribs, she thinks, or I don't know, it hurts like a motherfucker, man.
Why the hell did he do that?
On my hand.
Evan goes on to describe how he asked Nick why he was doing this but received no response. The fight just continued until something gave Evan the upper hand.
Hey, he's dead.
What do you mean he's dead? Did you do it?
I don't know. I didn't kill him. I didn't want to kill him. I didn't kill him.
All right.
I don't think it was real, though. I don't think it was even real.
Well, Evan, calm down. Tell me what
We
happened.
were
Tell me
fighting
what
in
you
my
remember.
basement. Fighting in my fucking basement, man.
Okay.
And then we're somewhere else. We're fucking somewhere else. So fucking weird. So then, I mean, it could have just been fake, right? It could have just been fake.
Yeah, you could have, Evan, you could have passed out, you could have blacked out, and maybe you thought you killed him and he just went away. I mean, if there's no body, right? I mean, he's not there. Nick's not there with you. So he had to have gone somewhere.
I felt his head crack. I felt it fucking snap, brother.
Oh, all right, Evan. I know
My
how you must
fucking
feel.
hands, Vinnie. It was my fucking hands that did it. Fuck, that fucking hurt.
I know how you must feel, but we got to make sure that this actually happened. Where you said that you weren't in your basement. Where did you go? Where could you have gone?
I it was that tree, you know, that fucking tree, up in the hiking trail.
Oh, the tree at Ballpate.
All I remember clear was he had me up against the fucking wall, and I don't know, it was like something knocking on the inside of my head, something clawing. It was like saying, you know, let me help, you know what I mean? It felt like that. Let me help and we can take him, and then...
Alright, Evan.
The next thing I know, is we're there, I'm not me, I'm fucking... It was my hand, it broke his fucking neck.
Evan, it's gonna be okay. Just calm down.
It's just after this point that Evan speaks to Vinnie about one more issue he has. He's noticed the tiny camera in the basement and he stares straight at it as he tells Vinnie.
Like tiny little black fucking camera.
Oh, no.
Little antenna sticking out of it. It's probably the size of my thumb.
Evan, I think what you got right now is what we call a pinhole camera. And that means that someone, or something, or a fucking combination of the two, is watching you or us. Because those things, as you said, it had an antenna on it?
Yeah.
That means that someone is recording it from somewhere. So, fuck. How many did you find?
No, then I'm looking at one right now.
Alright, so you've got 2?
There.
Alright, well, what we'll do is when I come over, we'll look for more. I mean, I can't imagine that there'd be many more, but we'll come look. And then we'll have to scour my house and Jeff's house. But Evan, we're gonna get through this, okay? I promise.
Thanks.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep pushing. We're gonna make it through.
Yeah, you're right.
Alright, I'm on my way. I'll be there in a minute.
We'll see you soon, brother.
Alright. Try and sit down and get some rest, okay?
Yeah.
I know it's hard, but just try.
Nick came to Evan's house to fight him, actually tried to kill him, and while Evan begged for an explanation, none came. There's been no mention of Nick or sight of him in the series for quite a while. We've seen more of Daniel than we have of Nick. But here he is attacking Evan out of the blue and suddenly being transported to another place with him where something in Evan's head helps him finish the fight. Do you remember Habit's blog post about a recent experiment of his from the perspective of a young man named Nick? Today the Habit killed Chowder. Chowder ran but I caught him. He's too fat, he stuck his fingers in Chowder's eyes and Chowder cried. The Habit pulled off his head like it was nothing, like his neck was made of tissue paper. I knew it was the Habit, but Chowder knew it was me and he didn't understand. The Habit says to me, "That a boy, Nicky, you'll be ready in no time." I ask, ready for what? He says, ready to fight something. I ask, what am I going to fight? He says, someone you used to know, Nick. I want to see how well he's doing. You see, he's an experiment, Nicky. Like you. I am sorry whoever I'm supposed to fight, but I'm strong as shit and big as a motherfucker. The Habit will make me kill you. I don't want to, but I will.
Do you remember Nick?
Yeah, Nick is pretty hard to forget. He's built like a monster and as big as a house. Yeah, I remember Nick.
The Nick that Habit's been using for a host body was the old friend of the EMH crew who came into Evan's basement and attempted to kill him. Evan was not fighting Nick. He was fighting Habit. And why? Because he's an experiment, Nicky, like you. Habit has a vested interest in Evan and he wanted to perform a test. Based on Evan's submission to the sudden offer of help from an internal voice and his victory over Nick, Evan passed that test. And though Habit himself was the only one who needed to get results, he set up hidden cameras to catch the whole thing in order to show us the fight too. Clearly, this footage was something the EMH guys wouldn't want us to see. Putting one of their own into the public eye as a potential murder suspect confessing to the killing? That's more suffering than they've ever willfully put themselves through. Add in the classic capitalized title and extra shots and it becomes clear that this was another Habit-produced video, just like the one before it. Just like all the other ones before it. The Morse code videos and even the sudden inserts of footage that the guys didn't know exist. Even if Habit needed to set up all these secret cameras for himself, the ones in Evan's house, the one in Jeff's room, the one in Vinnie's basement, and the ones in Jeff's upstairs hallway that caught Alex running from the monster in his room, he didn't need to show us the footage. It's not something we as viewers needed to see, unless Habit needed us to see them. Think of the way that Habit's been operating. At every single turn, if there was something to be discovered, he had a hand in it. The packages, the Corinthall documents, Stephanie's blog just as she moved into the Princeton area 20 minutes from the guys. And the majority of the information wasn't even meant to be given to the Everyman Hybrid crew. It was for us. It was for the viewership. Now, even without Corinthall documents or coordinates or secret packages, he's still feeding us information, even going as far as to say, here's what they haven't shown you. Even if the guys are keeping secrets, Habit isn't trying to. He's trying to reveal them to us using the guy's own YouTube channel and Twitter account to do so. Then Habit moves on to create the 7 trials, which involves such a huge focus on paying attention to him, doing what he says for his approval, competing for a prize we don't know anything about, going out in public to protest on his behalf and perform poetry readings celebrating Habit and his legacy while recording it all. Look at the signs, rabbits. The Everyman Hybrid channel is not about Evan, Jeff, and Vinnie. It is not about Stephanie. It's not about Alex or the feral monster stalking him. It is not even about Slender Man. This entire endeavor is about Habit. Habit owns this show. He's been in control since the very beginning. Not even 6 videos into their own project and the guys were interrupted by a Morse code video showing how strongly Habit was working behind the scenes. Video after video goes up created and edited by the guys, and somehow, Habit slips his own material into it without their knowledge. They still can't even see what he's made. When they've tried, it's resulted in a group relapse, as Dr. Corinthall called it, followed by passing out and bleeding from the nose and ears. Everyman Hybrid is a web series being filmed and edited by Vinnie, Evan, and Jeff, but Habit is the true director and producer, and the real final cut always comes down to his vision and agenda. It doesn't matter what the EMH guys want you to see or hear. Habit's opinion and desire are all that matter. This is a show for him, by him, and his actors are completely oblivious. They aren't the only ones he's done this to either. Look at the blog entries on Can You See the Words? Each and every time a journal by someone who was forced to write by Habit or convinced to do so. Even the rabbits from the 7 trials have been played, made to do horrible, embarrassing, self-degrading things in public and on video for his pleasure.
Pissin' Mo, you complain as if this is a game for your enjoyment. Get over yourself.
Slender Man may own the EMH crew in the sense that he's overseeing their iteration cycles, but his arrangement with Habit on this matter may be that he gets to use them for entertainment during each iteration. How do we know this is even the first time they produced a web series or enacted some kind of performance? We've seen a direct overlap of actions repeated through separate iterations, suggesting it runs precisely like a video game level that's been failed. You try to work your way through the mission, you die, you respawn at the start, and you do it all over again. Habit has had more power and influence over the entire sequence of events than we ever suspected, and his motives are finally starting to become clear. We are his viewership, not Evan, Jeff, and Vinnie's. Still, they continue to upload their own videos, starting with a new entry on December 19th.
Alright, so I'm going to start logging these. I found this little camera wedged all the way back in that little hole. And I guess really the point of this is just to log where they are so I can check in a few days to make sure that none have made a return appearance.
Doesn't matter. Like I said, I can't explain it.
Are you guys talking about those emails again?
Yeah. Oh, so you can't explain why you just erased them all. You just erased them all. You didn't do that.
I didn't consciously sit down and make this decision. It just fucking happened. I don't know when it happened either. I check it daily, and at some point over the last month I erased, maybe 3 weeks worth of fucking messages from the people. I can't explain it. I won't sit here and fucking try. You don't know what happened with Nick.
That's fucking different. Don't even get that shit into it. Yeah, it's fucking different.
Hold on. There's no reason to spill bad blood between us because of this shit. We're getting off track. We're talking about the emails, Jeff. I know.
It doesn't make sense, and I'm sorry, and I apologize for it.
We've all been off. We've all had our off moments. Evan, you of all people should know. We've all had our off moments.
Yeah.
I understand, but at the same time, we gotta stop. We need to talk to these people.
I would love to.
They're
I
helping us.
didn't do it on purpose. Again, I'm sorry.
I know.
I
It's
won't
okay.
sign in.
Okay. We need to have, these people are one of our main lifelines. So we can't cut off that one outside source. We need to keep talking to them. I can't stress how important that is. In the trash bin, I'll look at it, Evan will look at it, and then we'll completely delete it if it needs to be deleted.
Anything you got a problem with, we'll throw out, man. But you know what I'm saying?
I'm glad that that's settled. Let's just move on.
You want to cheese it? Will that make you feel better?
After this conversation, Vinnie downloads an app to track down Wi-Fi signals, and they soon discover a wireless connected hard drive underneath the front stairs, attached with purple duct tape. It's 500 gigabytes strong and more than capable of being connected to the cameras inside the house. The next video on December 24th is a nice departure from the usual events in the hybrids' lives.
Hey hybrids, I just wanted to take a break from the Christmas party to basically clear something up. It seems that the last 3 videos there's been a little confusion. The most recent video was actually done by me. I did have the security footage. I found it on the hard drive and I incorporated it into the video. The other 2 videos that you guys keep talking about, again, we can't see them.
This is only more proof that Halloween Hangover and outside help weren't the products of the EMH crew. They're videos by habit for us alone to see. Vinnie ventures back over to the group, which includes Alex, the guy's friend Daniel, and off-screen, Stephanie. Evan goes to find her as Jeff receives Alex's gift, an air horn. The video then cuts to a new scene.
Let me turn that off.
Just recording.
You know, man. Thinking back to when my parents bid it, I always think to myself, like, it should have fucking been me in that car, you know? Like, I should be at the bottom of that fucking creek right now.
No. Oh, no.
Like, I can't be Alex's dad. I'm not a father. Like, he's missing out on so much. And, like, yeah, we're fine financially, but
hey,
it's not normal.
You're not his dad.
It's not normal by any stretch of the imagination.
It's not. And I can't pretend that you're his dad, and you can't pretend that you're his dad. But you are doing way better than me or Evan or anybody else I know could be doing in this situation, dude. This is something that you and him are getting through, and I'm very proud of both of you.
Alright, man.
Just trying to...
feels like I shouldn't be here, you know? Like, I should have died instead of them.
Not at all. Me and Evan need you here. Alex definitely sure as hell needs you here. You're doing all right. You're doing all right.
Thanks, man.
No problem. You want me to get this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Couple windows, man.
Yeah, there we go. Oh!
Did we just experience an iteration bleed-through? Was that footage from habit interrupted by even more footage he's taken? The underwater scenes have appeared before in the Morse code videos. Did Jeff actually drown during another cycle? There isn't more to be found from this moment as the Christmas party continues.
Oh, Evan's got a gift, it looks like.
Can I open mine first?
Jeff actually opened his first already.
So, can I...
Remember?
Yeah, you can. Oh, you go.
Yeah!
You go first. Go ahead.
But...
Yep. This is Evan, waiting on a pretty important thing for you internet. I don't even know if I'm going to show this to the internet, man. Screw that. How you doing in there? You, need help? Steph, what is it?
You'll see.
What?
Just let him. Just let him.
Another
What'd you get? No time for Collins. We got Christmas.
Oh
no.
my god.
Oh!
It looks like
It's
a
so
shark.
awesome! It's so awesome! It's so... Give me it. Give it here. Give it here.
That was almost dangerous.
Awesome.
Oh.
Thank you.
This was almost Daniel's last Christmas.
Daniel was...
Okay, let's give one good look to the camera. Evan, look to the camera. There it is. Nice. The face of an angel.
Hey.
And J-Dog.
Yeah. So Evan. Yeah. Explain J-Dog.
J-Dog, you guys, is Jeff's tactical name, as my tactical name is Evac. And we use these names on Call of Duty and on Halo when we need to get tactical.
Go ahead.
Don't look like that. Okay.
How do you think that sounded?
That sounds great.
Thank you. I know that's not my dog.
It's sick.
All right, hybrids. Well, now we're going to wrap this up. And I think everybody's going to say their goodbyes.
See ya. Happy holidays.
And we're going to go ahead and charge for later.
Stop ruining it.
This is Slender Man Hybrid signing off.
See ya.
Stephanie appears to be pregnant with Evan's child, a shock that may only add to the struggle the group is experiencing. And in another inserted moment, we see Alex playing with his bass guitar, and while it's not entirely clear what he says, it does sound as if he's admitting he knows the sock puppet isn't really his dog. The next video arrives on January 20th titled Jim Thorpe, the town in Pennsylvania that the group's friend Jessie lives in.
You want to give them a heads up where we're going? There's people
Oh yeah,
out in La La Land.
We're going to visit Jessie. She is back from school. She's chilling up here in the Jim Thorpe land. Family's got a house up here, so that's where we're going.
Somewhere. It's up here somewhere.
It's up here somewhere.
Are we sure that we have the right address? Because the GPS said we made it.
I'm pretty sure
I
it's
see no
4. I'm pretty sure it's 4.
But we didn't put 4 into the GPS. There's 22. We're on the wrong street. Okay. Let's...
Jessie. Hello.
It's this one. Jeff, we get lost out
Calm
here.
down. Calm down.
Yeah, right?
What? Did you call the police? No, stay exactly where you are. Don't try to leave.
Vin, how far away are we?
If you're already hidden, then just fucking stay there.
As far as I can
We
tell,
are
we're
on our fucking way.
5
We're gonna
minutes.
be
I
there
just
in
gotta
like a few
find it.
fucking minutes.
What's going on?
Try faster.
Did you stop recording?
No, give me a camera. The hell is he doing?
You haven't. Shit's everywhere.
What the fuck? Ev!
Jessie!
Shit.
Do you have anything in the car? Good night.
We've got our clothes. He's got the only...
Jessie!
Holy shit. Holy shit. Jeff,
Fuck this shit, man.
where are you going? Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
The following video is uploaded on January 23rd titled Jessie.
Jeff! Jeff! Jeff!
I'm here, man. Come on.
What happened?
Did Evan come back? No, the thing's gone, man. I don't know.
He's gone?
The thing is, yeah, I don't know where Evan is.
Oh, let me get up. Okay. Alright, it's recording. Wait.
Evan!
Evan! Evan!
She's gone. She's gone. She's dead. They tore her the fuck apart.
Was she still in there?
Oh. Vinnie! Vinnie!
Evan, we can't just leave her like
Said
that.
she's fucking dead.
Well, we can't just leave her like that. You kidding?
You can't just go the fuck in there with your fucking camera. We're leaving.
She's right there. We can't leave her.
Vinnie, that's all that's left of her. Can we please go?
Let's get out of here. I'm sorry.
Dude, I hope you know that I wasn't leaving you back there. That thing chased me after I used Alex's horn. You know, I just wanted to get it away from the property. I don't know.
Don't worry about it. I appreciate it.
Dude,
What?
I was out in the woods, you know, being tracked. The other thing showed up and stopped it. I mean,
You tried to save us?
No, it wasn't benevolent.
We haven't seen him in months, and all of a sudden he pops out of nowhere.
I don't know. I heard the siren, and the other one was gone. They were both gone.
Well, whatever the hell's going on with that, there's one thing that I have an issue with. As long as he's asleep. He doesn't want us to upload what happened after I got attacked. And I understand completely. But to all the people who care about Jessie, and all the people who have been helping us, they deserve to see the full story. They deserve to see what happened. We can't just leave it where it ended. We have to upload both parts.
I don't care, man. You know, enough's all out there already. You know, there's pictures of my brothers getting cut. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm indifferent. I know where he's coming from.
I understand completely.
It'll be an injustice to the people who know her.
Exactly. I don't know.
Fucking thing.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I hope that we can upload it, and as long as I can get, you know, you're okay, and eventually his okay. Well,
The next video, Intermission, is an explanation from Vinnie that something occurred on the way to Jessie's funeral that the guys don't know if they should upload. A decision has to be made. In the end, an agreement is reached and the video is uploaded under the title Consensus.
this is Vinnie. I honestly don't know why I'm recording this. I guess this is sort of the way I grieve now. I just talk to you guys. Right now I'm picking up Jeff's brother Alex. We're going to Jessie's funeral. Hey Al, how are you?
Good, you want to come in for a little
Yeah,
bit?
sure.
Can't really
It's alright.
the door
No.
and shake your hand.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Well, it's not blurry at all.
I know. That's why I got it. I wanted to be able to take better pictures because people are like, oh, it's blurry. We don't believe you. This isn't happening to you.
Are you serious?
It's like cardboard cutouts, and we don't have time to deal with people who are, you know, giving us shit. You're the best cameraman. Best one.
I've been having these dreams lately. Well, they're not really dreams because everything it tells me happens.
Hold on. It? What do you mean it?
The thing that attacked you, me, and Evan.
Are you kidding?
No.
How long has this been going on?
Weeks.
And he talks to you?
Yeah, like, he told me exactly what he did to Jessie, and like I could picture it perfectly.
Why didn't you tell us about this? Why didn't you tell me or your brother or even Evan?
Well, at first I kept playing it off like they were dreams. As things started happening that he was telling me, and it started getting really realistic. I thought it was just dreams from trauma or something.
No, I get you there. Did he say anything else? He's been coming for weeks.
Well, he told me about you guys.
Can I see that real quick?
Yeah.
The battery's dying. Let me.
I think we took the wrong turn. Yeah, I think we went the wrong way.
Not again. Not again. Oh, shit. Okay. The fuck is this? Oh, God. Where's Al? Alex! 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 What the fuck? The fuck is that shit? Oh, God.
Alex is dead. He suffered the same fate as Stephanie's family, gutted by the Slender Man and left in a bleeding trash bag hung from a tree. He seems to have angered his attacker by divulging information given to him in dreams, information from the monster that killed Jessie and had been stalking him. A relationship has become clear now. Slender Man and Habit work together in a kind of partnership, and the feral white monster works for Slender Man as evidenced by Jeff's story of what happened in the woods of Jim Thorpe. The white monster is, as many have already guessed, another legend known as the Rake. All information pertaining to the Rake, the prophetic dreams, the claw marks, the mention of Linny, William, and Rose, comes from the original story of the Rake online. You may remember the name Rose in the story of Everyman Hybrid. She was Jessie's grandmother, who the police reported was killed by a vicious wild animal that hadn't been identified. The body found at the location where the Rake first appeared in Everyman Hybrid is quite possibly Linny, as the note she held was written by Linny and detailed going to find the Everyman Hybrid crew. This girl also appears to have been killed by a vicious wild animal. The blue bag from earlier that had a package with Linny's name on it also had instructions to find Everyman Hybrid. Inside was a letter to Linny from William, which indicates that this was Linny's bag. You might also remember Linny was the final adopted child of James Corinthall, who he left in the care of William and Rose. Corinthall's journal entry from 1990 detailing a dream about Linny's conversation with William is the connective tissue to the Everyman Hybrid crew. Remember, Linny was present in Corinthall's life when the children died from their mystery illness. When this is considered, the conversation between her and her new adoptive father, William, makes much more sense. I can't recall the whole conversation, but it was all very confusing. No, Lynn, you weren't blood related. Yes, you all seem to get along very well. I know. You're right, the resemblance is uncanny. It just doesn't feel right. If you're going to go, just be careful. I'll call you if I find anything that can give you a little bit of insight. I know how insane it must all sound. Linny left William and dear Rose to find someone. She was confused about her former sibling's life and demise. Someone who seemed to know about them as well. After the death of Evan, Jeff, Vinnie, and Stephanie, Dr. Corinthall left Linny in the care of William and Rose because he no longer deemed himself capable of caring for her. At the time, he had mentioned that she had her own personal demon to contend with, and it was much more feral in nature than what had plagued the Fairmount Children's Home patients. When Linny grew up and asked William about her former siblings, he told the truth and she set out to find more information. Dr. Corinthall knows about this through a dream he had, which he wrote a journal entry for. The body of the girl found in the woods is most likely Linny according to what she had on her, the placement of the body, and the location of Linny's missing bag nearby with information from William. The girl had been killed by the Rake. William was already deceased, so he wasn't a target. So why was Jessie attacked? Rose had been living in Jim Thorpe and was murdered there. Jessie was her granddaughter, and when the hybrid guys came to visit her, she was in Jim Thorpe in a house way out in the woods. The Rake seems to have a major vendetta against Linny's entire family and was following the bloodline. The only issue with this whole situation appears when considering the time Corinthall had his dream. In 1981, his children had all died except for Linny, who he took east to be with William and Rose. Why these two? Because as Jessie had told us earlier, James Corinthall was her mother's half-brother, making him related to Rose. He gave Linny over in 1981, and in 1990 he had his dream about Linny taking off to find information about her former siblings. Like the problem of the iteration cycle with the Everyman Hybrid 4, the existence of Linny in the current lifetime can't be reconciled with Corinthall's reports of activity in the year 1990. The only explanation is that Linny is somehow trapped in the iteration cycle as well. It's the only current possibility for her existence in the current timeline, performing her actions from a past life all over again in a new time and place. If the Rake itself has an agenda for killing off Linny, Rose, and Jessie, it remains to be seen. However, its whispered prophecies to Alex seems to have damned him in the eyes of Slender Man, who is clearly more powerful than the Rake. We know this from the countless times that it's backed off of the crew due to Slender Man's interference. Whatever Alex told Vinnie about what the Rake said, it hurt Slender Man's plans more than it helped him, and he seems to have lashed out against the Rake by killing Alex, who it had been targeting as prey. Alex's death seems to confirm what the guys theorized about earlier. You don't go around Evan, Jeff, Vinnie, and Stephanie because that's poaching on Slender Man's territory. And that still isn't everything we can learn from what's happened here. Look at Vinnie's appearance. He's wearing the same clothes but has completely lost all of his facial hair. It may be that Vinnie's just gone through a whole new iteration. On March 20th, Vinnie uploads a video marking the second anniversary of Everyman Hybrid as a channel titled 24 Months. He starts by collecting some words from his peers.
Well, Steph, I guess, you know, I tell you every day that I freaking love you, both of you, and just want you to know I'm gonna keep fighting for you, tooth and nail. I'll be right next to you. You two are the only good thing that's come out of this, so I'm gonna give it everything I got for you. And, as for the rest of you fuckers watching, thanks. That's it.
That was good.
Thanks.
Do me a favor?
Yeah, gotcha. You're queued up. Yeah, you look beautiful.
Well, I'm sure by now you guys can kind of figure out what we're doing here. It seems like half of our videos are either us teaching you how to work out and pretending that everything's okay, or they're us getting our asses beat or losing ones we love. And
Hold on. Vinnie just said that about half their videos are on working out. They quit the whole workout and health tips routine a long time ago. At least, that's the impression we're supposed to have. Everything after the self-defense video has been about the paranormal investigation, and there are way more videos on that than there are health tips and tricks. Have they really kept going with the Everyman Hybrid channel idea and we just haven't seen any of the videos at all? It would make sense for what Habit's doing in his position as director and producer. If it didn't fit the narrative he wants to tell, it wouldn't make the public view. Still, to think that this might actually be happening is quite a major shock. Vinnie might just be having a slip of the tongue here and they really did stop at episode 7, but to say that half of their videos are still on working out? Even for a joke, that's a bit too much of an exaggeration.
we can't do that anymore because we haven't actually talked to you, and we've recently found out how fragile life really is. And we just wanted to thank you. And I really don't have anybody besides you guys, and of course you guys out there. And I wanted to thank, first and foremost, you and Jeff, Evan, and really, secondly, everyone out there. You've been with us from the start, and you've been there to help us when we were down, when we were out, and we appreciate it. And we need you now, more than ever. That's it. Yeah. Jeff. Do you have anything?
Please just stop watching us.
Okay, we're done.
The next video to be uploaded is called Dead End with a Pulse, in which Vinnie and Jeff review all the information they have regarding their situation. This involves going through their old notebook of video plans for the fitness and nutrition idea. Apparently, there was a plan for a follow-up video to the hiking lesson recorded, but it was never made, and the previous hiking video wasn't released in full due to how much activity occurred around that time. While playing with the rocking horse from Corinthall storage, Jeff has a breakthrough. The doctor's wife, Marianne, is still alive. Jeff met her down south while he was investigating the first Corinthall document he found, and they haven't even tried talking to her. Jeff calls the old gated community she lived in and finds that Marianne left a while ago. However, the woman Jeff speaks to on the phone says that Marianne was planning to go home to New Jersey, where she and her husband would work on fixing historic homes. The final news article about Dr. James Corinthall, the guys found in the Hamilton Public Library, mentions the area around Baldpate as being his hideout from police. The strangest occurrences involving the guys at Baldpate took place in run-down historic homes, exactly the kind that an elderly couple would live in and restore as a retirement project. With all of this information together, it becomes clear the EMH guys finally have a lead. It's a stretch, but it's the best clue they've gotten in a while. Jeff packs his things while Vinnie recites their new plan. He's going to charge the cameras and unload the memory cards, print out directions, and just get them ready to go to Baldpate. Jeff will go explain everything to Evan, take him back to the house, and they'll head off together. We next see Jeff outside Evan's house in his car reading a text message telling him to enter around the back.
Yo, Ev! Evan! Dude, we got something. Evan! Steph! Evan! What are you doing, man? Yeah, fuck this, man. I'm going to Vince. I'll call you when you stop screwing around. Fuck! What the fuck? What the fuck's going on?
There are 2 points I want to make about this before continuing. First, did you notice who this guy was when Jeff went upstairs? This would be Nick, Habit's failed experiment who was sent to fight Evan and died at his hands. The other point I'd like to mention isn't too obvious. Do you remember this footage of Jeff walking through Evan's basement with blood on his hand? It's the same exact clip featured in Habit's montage from 24 Months, a video that was released 11 days before this one. Again, Habit showed us footage that seems to be from the future, and this entire segment from Jeff's camera is brought to us by Habit 2 according to the next bit of action. On April 9th, Vinnie tweets, "I held out as long as I could. Haven't heard from the boys. I'm done sitting around. Going to Evan soon." Dead End with a Pulse was uploaded on March 31st as a complete video, with footage from Vinnie's camera in his basement and footage from Jeff's at Evan's house. It's not possible for Vinnie or Jeff to have uploaded what was recorded at Evan's. Jeff's camera was still with him that exact night, and Vinnie is only now going to try tracking him down over a week later. Vinnie uploaded everything from his camera in his basement leading up to seeing Jeff out of the house, and he did it relatively quickly. Remember, he was about to dump the memory card for their trip to Baldpate. So, not only did Habit show us footage from the future, he continued to do the impossible by attaching what Jeff recorded to the end of a finished video that Vinnie already posted online. The full video couldn't have been uploaded by Habit pretending to be Vinnie either. He could have used the guy's normal formatting for the title to trick us into thinking it's their upload, but Vinnie's tweet lets us know he is aware that we know about the progress they just made. His tweet reveals he's talking to an audience that has seen Dead End with a Pulse, a video he uploaded, and that his audience is actively waiting, just like he is, for new developments. But he's held out as long as he could and hasn't heard from the boys, so he's going to do something about this. On April 10th, the very next day, Vinnie uploads Not Dead Yet, a video that shows he did go to Evan's house. Vinnie goes inside the house armed with a flashlight after finding the back door is wide open. He heads down to the basement where there's something to be discovered.
The fuck? Don't lose it. It's okay. This is for your friends. Oh shit. Oh God. Jeff.
Vinnie makes his way back upstairs until hearing a noise in another room. Upon investigating, he comes across Slender Man and runs outside, jumping into his car and driving off immediately. Back on Twitter, activity shows in the form of a new break-in by Habit. Don't tell Vinnie. On Jeff's back, a message. Green Feathers, +7. Soon after, the guy's old friend Green Feathers tweets out, I received an email containing coordinates earlier this week. I found something I think may be important. The YouTube link leads to a video on Green Feather's own channel. He explains that the coordinates led him to this spot in the woods where he finds a ladder built into a tree.
Brain!
What the fuck?
How's about you come down there, brother? Watch your step, man. Now you got a little bit of holy shit. Told you. You know, you're pretty clever, man. Finding your way out here, finding the stash I left for you. Very resourceful. I like that. Very clever.
I don't want any trouble, man.
Don't worry. I'm not here to hurt you, Green. I'm here to talk. Here's what I want to talk about. What you got in your hand right there? What is it? Take a look at it. You know what that is?
It's a knife.
It's a knife. It's a knife. Yeah. See what's inside of it? That's called paper. That's a note for you, and I think what you left all over the ladder there, that's ink ribbon. Those are all for you, Green. Don't worry about it now. I want you to take all this shit that you collected today on your little solo adventure to the woods, and I want you to share it with your friends. You think you can do that for me, Green? I said, do you think that you can do that for me, Green?
Yeah, man, yeah.
That's all I want. I just want fucking acknowledgement. What the fuck? Good. Then, you have a good day, man. Oh, and, I'd keep that knife. Because sooner or later, you'll be seeing me again. And I'll have one of my own. about yay big. Just warning you, I'm pretty good with them. Get ready, son. See you later.
Evan really isn't looking too good. He's had his moments of seeming a bit off kilter, but this really tops everything before it. In fact, with the setup that brought green feathers here and the purple duct tape on that knife, you might wonder if Evan is really himself at all. With everything that's gone on lately, Evan might have finally cracked. And what is it that green feathers found besides that knife anyway? A Corinthall document dated 11/12/1990 and a scrap from an ink ribbon with a long message. The ink ribbon was part of a set completed by the rabbits from Habit's trials. On May 26th, he announced extra innings and instructed all remaining rabbits to email him a physical mailing address at which they received a piece of the ink ribbon. The Corinthall document from 1990 is another journal entry detailing nightmares he experiences. Most of them are of horrible things being done to his dead children, but the most recent involves Linny again. Linny is traveling on foot in the woods of Pennsylvania reading a letter. After finishing, she makes her way to a small country motel, the Logan Inn. Next, Corinthall sees Linny among the ruins of a dilapidated brick building which looks like an old school. She is chased upstairs by an unseen monster that closes in on her, and before Corinthall can see it, the dream ends. The next day, Dr. Corinthall managed to track down the Logan Inn, which was in Pennsylvania, and asked about his daughter. No one had seen her. Corinthall's dream lines up with what we know of Linny in the current timeline. The guys found a dead girl in the remains of an old school who was killed by the Rake during the video cops checked no body. In her hand was a letter that Vinnie read in the following video, Ash and Waste.
First off, the name is smeared out with what looks like blood. I'm heading east. You wouldn't believe it. Someone else knows about the doctor. Bless his soul, it will be such a relief to finally figure out what happened to him those few years ago. Spent last night in the Logan Inn. Tomorrow, I'm heading into New Jersey to finally contact this group. They show a lot of promise. I'll find you and the others, if they can finally help us. Stay safe, we'll make it out. Linny.
This final document concerning Linny confirms her identity as the dead girl from the school. Somehow, she's in the same iteration cycle as the guys and has already failed in her unknown mission by the time they find her. It's unknown who the original Linny was looking for, but the current version was trying to find the Everyman Hybrid guys and died retracing her exact steps. Talking about her discovery with William, heading off on her own, stopping at the Logan Inn, and dying in the burned-out school. The other document concerning green feathers, the completed ink ribbon, details a Corinthall journal from 1980. Corinthall writes about the near-death experience of Stephanie, who had a serious overdose in the home while in the presence of Evan. After emergency services saved Stephanie's life, Corinthall questioned his children about what exactly took place. Evan had smirked at him and said, "Maybe it's best that she just stays quiet. Maybe it's for the better." The doctor had asked him what he meant by that and was told, "Maybe it's just better, so she won't overdose again." The next bit of activity picks up on the Everyman Hybrid channel when Vinnie uploads a video titled The Property. After failing to find Jeff or Evan, his only decision is to follow the lead that Jeff uncovered and check out the houses at Baldpate Mountain. He goes into a house with signs of fire damage and tries to turn on a flashlight but finds it isn't working.
I'm just kind of feeling my way across the wall, guiding my way wherever the hell I am. Shit. Alright, well, that was my head, which just so graciously found me a door. Okay. And those are spiders. Whoa. I hate spiders. Okay, I found a light switch which probably will not Okay. What the fuck is going on? This is my bathroom. What? Okay. This is my bathroom. That is Jeff's pantry. So here, I'm in my bathroom. Now I'm in Jeff's pantry. Okay. And that is a clean cut. Well, all right. I am very afraid to see what's behind this door. Sort of makes sense, Jeff's house. Alex. Alex? Didn't even know there were doors here. Okay. Try to get out of here. Okay, so that's not going to happen. There it is again. Alex! Is that you? It's gone.
Vinnie pulls back the curtain to see that he's now in his bathroom, again. But outside the door, he finds himself on the second floor of Evan's house.
Evan's upstairs. Okay. It's the last time I follow voices.
Vinnie manages to pick himself up off the floor and realizes that he's back in his own basement. But there's an odd detail that just isn't right.
The only thing that doesn't seem to fit is... looks like one of Steph's paintings. That's weird. Okay. What's that? Do I really want to...
Show you that you don't need those ridiculously expensive gym passes and harsh regimens to maintain a healthier, happier lifestyle.
What the fuck?
We want to show you that there's
okay.
sort of yin and yang.
I'm in Steph's apartment.
So we decided why not make a video blog.
Hello?
We'll be having to put 1 or 2 out every week or so. And we'd love to hear from you if you have comments or questions. You can reach us at twitter.com/Everyman.
Hello? Is anybody back here?
And from Stephanie's apartment, Vinnie walks into Evan's basement. He looks around for a bit before finding some papers on the floor and grabs them.
Keep that.
Oh, shit. Get the hell in here.
Vinnie, Sean, let me help you up. Come here. All right. There we go. A little wildly on your feet, huh? Here's a seat right over here. God, it's good to see you. Here, take a seat. There you go. All right, take a look around. Here's my Eden. My little heaven in this hell. This hell we call life right now. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? I can't even tell you how I created it. I've carved away at it. It's taken me years. I think it was more from the wanting it than from working it, but it's here. And God bless, so are you. God, it's good to see you. But it's dangerous. This place, this is like an inner sanctum to the monster sanctuary. These monsters, these things, they can get in. They've gotten in before. I've kicked them out. It's hard to go. It takes a lot, but I've kicked them out. This time I know they'll be coming full force because they're after you, son. They want you, so you're not going to be able to stay here very long. This is very, very temporary for you. So when you start feeling a little bit better, we're going to have to get you out of here. And don't worry. Your sister, your brother, and me, we'll hold down the fort. There's one thing you got to know, son. And this is important no matter where you go. Remember this. I'm pretty sure, I know in the deepest of my hearts, they cannot beat us. I'm still here. You're still here. We're kicking and screaming. So just remember that when you go. I'll tell you, when they come for me, they don't have to make an appointment because the doctor, he's in. Let's go. Vinnie, son, listen to me. If you meet these things, do not trust them. Do not hunt them and do not try to kill them. Better yet, you duck your head and run the other way. You understand me, son?
Yeah, not a problem.
Bless you, kids. What? All right. You're safe for now. I've got to go, but you're staying here. I love you, son. Goodbye, and good luck.
So, that was a lot to take in, wasn't it? Let's start from the beginning of Vinnie's departure from the basement. In case you didn't catch it, that was Stephanie, Evan, Jeff, and Vinnie around Evan's table. Impossible, of course, because Vinnie is standing on the stairs filming them, but they're still there. The distortion effect we see here is reminiscent of the first appearance of Dr. James Corinthall, back when we saw him in the storage facility. And it is Dr. Corinthall we see next rescuing Vinnie from Slender Man. Through the doctor's words, we learn that Vinnie is in another realm, the Monster Sanctuary. In his time here, Dr. Corinthall has somehow created an inner sanctum, a pocket of the realm to call his own. He also knows the monsters are after Vinnie and they want him very badly. An interesting piece Corinthall relates is how Vinnie's brother and sister are helping him hold down the fort. It's unknown what that means, but it's clear Corinthall is not alone in this place. He can also apparently move in and out of it at will, taking Vinnie from his personal inner sanctum back to Baldpate Mountain. The paper Vinnie grabbed reveals a bit more about what's happening here. He puts a link to the file in the video description. Pictures of the document, still clear enough to read the message. It's actually written by Marianne Corinthall in an attempt to reach her husband on another plane. After the final incident from the newspaper clipping surrounding the restaurant massacre, Marianne received a call from her husband informing her of the situation and their next steps. Before engaging in the emergency protocol they had discussed, Marianne collected the last of his personal items from the police who had searched his car after disappearing. Among the items was a picture of him and Evan from a long time ago at a water park. Marianne, according to instruction, gathered some things from a chest in the attic at their home which had been prepped for emergency situations. She then broke into one of the old homes at Baldpate Mountain they had hoped to one day own and restore together as a retirement project, carrying out her mission. For some reason, in the event of total chaos in his investigations, Corinthall had instructed his wife to do something specific in one of the houses in the area, among other mystery directions. Things go silent once again on all fronts for a while. It's only on October 9th that anything new appears. A very special double feature. A director's cut, in fact. And now, before we dive into the next two videos called Moving In and Smiley Face respectively, it is highly advised that this explanation video is paused to watch both entries in full on the actual Everyman Hybrid channel if you have not already done so. The next two videos are known as the first major crown jewel of the series among fans and are usually shown to get others interested in the series due to their strength. If you have not seen them, you will be doing yourself an injustice by watching my highlights instead. I implore you, watch the full videos. You will not be disappointed. These two screenshots can be clicked on to access the videos, and if you're on a device that doesn't provide that function, links have been placed in the video description below. Remember, watch Moving In first and the smiley face icon video immediately after. Then return to me here and skip to the time displayed to bypass the highlights fly-through so we can resume our discussion. Otherwise, I'm going to play the significant portions with slight jump cuts until the event is through. Again, if you haven't seen these yourself or just don't remember them fully, go watch the real deal first and then come back here.
Alright, fucker. Let's go. Now, first rule, this table is mine. You don't touch the table. You don't even look at the fucking table. You don't touch it. You don't look at it. You don't grab none of this. You got it? Unless I specifically ask you to. Dig? Alright, Daddy-O. Next. Come here. Come here. Now, currently I got the squatters sitting in here. They're over in the corner. Yeah, so don't worry about it. But I'm going to clear those out for poor little devils. This is where the magic is gonna fucking happen, kid. See that floodlight? I want that floodlight plugged in over there in that corner. You got it? Now, the floodlight goes out, you plug it back in. Where I want you to aim the floodlight is right here at this kiddo chair. That's where little Jeffers is gonna be. That's where I'm gonna carve him up. Most of it. I'll probably be all over the place. Like, honestly, here and there on the floor. Just try to follow as best you can. You got it? Keep that camera on us. Don't look at the corners. Don't look at the doors like you're doing now. Don't look at the fucking pay attention. You think I'm gonna fucking creeps. I hate you so.
Who's behind me?
Not so much of a who, more of a what. And as to what it is, hell, I'm not even really sure what makes it tick, but it does its job pretty well. You can consider it just a cameraman, okay? So how are we feeling? We feeling good? Feeling sassy? No? I can understand you being disgruntled. I can understand you being a little bit disappointed. You taken out of the game. You were close to some sort of clue or something, I guess. Not really, but you were trying, and that's what counts. See, that's what's great about you, man. It's also the reason that you're gonna die. But, fuck it. You're smart. Yeah, you're clever. Now, he fucking hates that. I love it. Kind of. But see, you're a thinker. You watch and you learn. And you figure out puzzles and shit. Evan, he's just an animal. He just runs in. He doesn't care what the fuck's going on. He's an idiot. Vinnie, well, he's more of a leader, more of a visionary, more of trying to keep everybody moving, keep the ball rolling, keep everybody together, safe. But you want to figure it all out. But that's not all there is to you, is there? So I hope you understand that that's why we can't let you live.
Why wait till now?
An excellent question. Again, see, you're smart and shit, I love it. Why wait till now? How many people have you lost? How many bodies have we taken from you? All torn apart. A few, more than a few. Doesn't matter. Wounds to the heart. They never heal. That's why we waited. We wanted to pulverize you. Punish you. Wanted to make y'all squishy. It was, you could think, his attempt to break you. That stick in the mud. See, he hates that he can't control you. He can control lots of people, if you knew that. Not you, no. Not you. Not Steph. Not Corinthall. That's why he punishes them. Takes everything from them. Children. Family. Friends. Pets. Well, that was really his department, but still. They can't get to you. Something about you just fights it. Now it's time to break you for real.
What else do you have to take?
What do you mean?
Sound broken. What else do I have?
You'd be surprised at what I can take from you.
Everyone okay? No? I imagine not. And that's alright. It hurt a little bit to watch that, didn't it? But for what it's worth, we should have seen this coming. They should have seen this coming. We all should have seen the signs. Every last one of them. Evan, Evan, Evan. It's always been Evan. The knives, the anger, the purple duct tape across his mouth as he walked through the background of a live stream. The image of Evan sprinting across the street behind Stephanie and Jessie when you knew he didn't belong there. And isn't it funny how Evan just happened to wake up right around the time something appeared at the bottom of the stairs during the guy's first major live stream? When there were only 3 people in the house and 2 of them were on camera, there was only one person who could have snuck into the backroom place and we all knew who it was. The Twitter account for EverymanHYBRID that all 3 of the guys had instant access to as well, so easily broken into by habit. And why? Because habit was sitting among them all along. Even since the Fairmount Children's Hospital days, Habit has been there with Evan, looming over him like a shadow, and we learned it from the very first document. Habit gets his own Twitter account, and at the same time, Evan gets a personal laptop. Hidden cameras get mounted in the homes of all three of the guys, a feat only manageable by someone who knows the layout of all of them, and they still wonder how it happens? Habit manages to get his hands on Evan's Bioshock 2 t-shirt, Alex's hat, and rip up the document copies Jeff had. Only someone who could have moved around as easily as the homeowners themselves could pull that off. And who else but Evan would manage it when he's that close to Jeff and Alex? The guys encounter a deer in the woods, and who kills it so viciously that he gets blood on everyone? Evan. Habit shows us a group discussion between a superconscious version of the guys with Evan in handcuffs talking about what he learned from the habit. Evan gets close enough to Stephanie to learn her blog password, and suddenly it becomes inhabited. And at the end, when Jeff finally starts to put things together, he tells Alex to stop hanging out with Evan. The evidence has been here. It's always been here. And the most brilliant part about it all? This was a reveal over 2 years in the making, set up from the get-go in the first Morse code video. Habit let us watch the crew actually get older, let us become close to them, learn who they are as people, and grow attached. He let us become friends with the hybrid guys, experience their troubles and loss alongside them. And when we were all thoroughly, fully invested, on December 24th, 2012, on Christmas Eve, he sends the following video to Vinnie.
Oh, thank you.
This was
Oh,
almost
she's
Daniel's last Christmas.
Smell that.
God, motherfucker. Really? Okay. Okay, motherfucker, let's do it. Come on.
Hey! Stupid. What you doing?
Oh, good dog. Good dog. Oh!
What the fuck's going on?
I don't know who the fuck these people are, but I think they're after me, and that's why they're here. Okay? I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. Come on. Let's get you downstairs. Let's get you to the car. Let's get the... Alright, take a deep breath. I want you to come into the room. The kitchen. I want you to have a seat.
What the fuck?
I know, I was gonna warn you about that.
Why'd you invite me here?
Dan, I didn't know that this was gonna happen. It's a little inconvenient, don't you think?
Who are they?
Who are they? Well, they're not professional with how they set up this fucking kill room, that's for damn sure. Look at that, it's messy. Oh, you're serious? You know that thing that's been following us, Dan?
Yeah?
Well, you know, sometimes when he's really after something, he'll send his dogs. No.
So trying to see he's after me?
I don't know. I mean, I sure hope not. I doubt it. I think he was probably after us, and honestly, you just got caught in a crossfire. When you think about it legitimately, he's been after us for how long now, you know?
Yeah.
But the important part is that you're safe. You're in good hands. Are you okay? Are you alright? Yeah, you seem a little bit not hurt or anything, are you?
No.
Okay, you sure he didn't get you? Chest? Yeah, how's your breathing? Is your breathing okay? Oh, what's that, a knife? Yeah, you should get that knife. Oh, no, what happened? Give you a little bit of air. About goddamn time. Come on over here. I've got an idea. I said stop crawling. Ah, fuck it, he's not gonna make it far. We're gonna have ourselves a little Jeff kebab. A little bit of a barbecue. Is he out there? Good. Yeah, he is. Good. It's beautiful out here. Oh, there it goes. They really liked you, Dan. Let's cut it off. I know that you want to die. But you're not going to. Not yet. Not until you hear her break. He's all yours. Well, this sucks.
What can we learn from this? Well, Abbott has killed Daniel. He has killed Stephanie and the baby she had with Evan. He may have covered Jeff in gasoline and watched him burn to death, although Slender Man's presence does suggest Abbott was just taunting him, making him close in on the belief he was about to lose his property. After all, Slender Man and Abbott haven't been getting along too well. Do you remember this particular instance of hidden footage during Ryan and the 7 Trials of Abbott?
Texas.
Evan?
Yeah? Jeff?
What's going on, man?
Hey, man. How you doing? I didn't see you there. I was just talking out loud.
Now that we know Habit has been using Evan as his host body, we can determine he was having an argument with his business partner during this particular moment. Whether the little fish Habit is referring to are the EMH crew or his newly acquired rabbits isn't something we can determine, but it seems that Habit's partnership with the tall man is deteriorating. There would be nothing worse Habit could do to Slender Man out of vengeance, it seems, than to slaughter a piece of his collection directly in front of him and make a full spectacle of it in the act. But then Habit could still be working with Slender Man and was just pulling his leg with the threat of burning Jeff alive while leaving us to believe he is dead. As for the beginning segment of the video, Habit's approach to the house, it's clear from what Habit tells Daniel that these zombies in and around the house aren't his doing. They're Slender Man's dogs, which he sends when he's after something. Habit is attacked by one downstairs because Slender Man feels threatened by Habit's actions. He knows Habit has Jeff and he knows what's happening to him. Because of this, it's time to protect what belongs to him as Habit has broken their agreement. Regarding the case of Alex being upstairs, he might have been remade somehow as one of Slender Man's dogs. This isn't entirely clear. We don't know what happens to victims of Slender Man outside of the garbage bags full of organs. What we do know for sure is Habit's take on the situation. He must feel comfortable with how things are going because he declares this the beginning of the final act in the show he's directing. The next video appears on February 23rd under the title, Wake Up.
Oh.
What? Okay. Sit. Fuck. Down, fucker. Sit down. It's fucking unlocked. What the fuck? Okay. Alright. Locked in a house. Yep. Locked in a fucking house. Doesn't look abandoned. Okay, locked in a house. Not abandoned. I'm in a town. I am in a fucking town. I don't know where. Definitely not abandoned. Why does that feel familiar? Why does this feel familiar? And why does it not feel good? What did I do here? I was here. What did I do? No! Okay. I remember this. I remember this. What did I do here? Remember. No, shut. Shut. I came in. I touched my hand. And then, oh. Whose house was this? Because they're not here anymore. What did I do? No. Oh, no. I remember you. I remember this door. I remember that doorknob. I remember that latch. I remember this. I remember screaming. I remember blood. I remember. No. You don't see shit. I remember. I did this. What is in it? You know, I can remember it like it was a dream, where you don't remember everything. You remember pieces and you're not sure if they're the right ones. I can remember Jeff. I can remember him begging. I can remember Steph. I can remember her crying. I can remember my baby. I can remember her crying. I can remember her bones against my teeth. I can remember the fire. I can remember this house. There were people who lived here. They don't matter. Just people. I can remember, what he would say in here and out to them. I can remember what I was feeling. Scared. I can remember what they look like in there. I can remember it. I can see it. I can remember it. And she's decorations on the wall. She's everywhere. She's on the ceiling and across. There's so much. And he's gone. Charred, boiled flesh. All the life is gone. No more light. No more thinking. No more remembering. I'm going to kill myself tomorrow. And how am I gonna kill myself tomorrow? How? I'll tell you how. The woods. I'll find it, crawling and digging through the dirt, and I'll attack it, or it'll attack me, and we'll die. Or I'll die. Fighting. Bloody. And in a lot of pain. But not more than I deserve. Thank you, everybody. But I think this monster's had enough.
It's Vin. You can't see me, but I was upstairs and I heard a noise from down here, and I don't know, it just really spooked me. I guess. What the fuck? Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh, what the fuck? What? What the fuck? What is this? Fucking hard drive. Fuck this. Alright, so it took a second to calm down, and then I plugged in the hard drive, and there was one file on it, and it was a video, and I have that queued up right now, and I guess we're gonna watch it.
Daytime. I'm gonna leave. What's that? Yeah, okay. Uh-huh. Is this one gonna hold me? Son of a bitch. That's all you wanted out of me, huh? You just wanted me to see him. Okay. Well, I saw him. You did it. And now I'm done. Excellent. Fucking hard. Me. Ready. Is that you skittering little fuck? Huh? Here I am. Ready as ever. Come on.
The next video arrives on March 6th titled L'Esprit de l'Escalier, a French term that describes thinking of the perfect comeback when it's already too late. Vinnie sees Evan outside the house and says he's been standing there for about 2 hours, ringing the doorbell and knocking. Vinnie has tried calling 911 but keeps getting rejected service. He's taken a heavy pipe wrench and finally opens the door, facing Evan for the first time since being openly inhabited.
What are you doing here, Evan? What? Evan, do you know what you've done?
What did I do, man? Tell me, what did I do?
I saw you. I saw the video. I saw you kill our friend.
Saw me kill our friend. You saw me do it. But do I look like it? Do I look like I just spent the past fucking month murdering everyone I love? Is that what I look like to you?
Get back. Back away. Evan.
I look fucking peachy, don't I? Say yes I do.
Yeah, you do.
Jesus fucking Christ. Does it look like I've suffered at all?
No.
Does it look like anything has changed? No! Just this shit. And this. I wasn't even wearing. He changed. He put it on. He put it on.
What? Who put it on you, Evan? What the hell are you talking about?
I think they're trying to prove a point, man. Because you see, no matter what I did, I couldn't go to sleep! It tore at me, and I tore at it. I held its fucking head in my hands. Vinnie, I held its head in my hands, and do you know what it did? It gnashed at me. It just kept talking. And its body kept fucking moving. It hit me in the stomach. And my fucking intestines fell out. Does it look like they fucking fell out? No! Because nothing changed, Vinnie.
How is that even possible, Evan? That's not even possible.
Why don't I have scars, Vin? Why don't I have scars on my arm? Where did they go? This shit doesn't heal like that! They won't let me go.
I don't think they're gonna let any of us go, Evan.
Vinnie, I tried.
Tried what, Evan?
I tried to keep you safe.
I don't think anything's gonna do it at this point, brother.
I'm sorry.
Evan attempted to die fighting the Rake. He wanted it to kill him, and apparently he succeeded. The Rake did disembowel him, but somehow Evan survived and came back in one piece. According to Roger Palladino's notes on Habit's power, it may be that Evan works so well as a host body that Habit can take full use of physical form and survive extreme wounds. But if something else is going on here, we would need the evidence for it. This may be a new iteration of Evan with his memories carried over, or it may be a fully healed version of the same Evan due to Habit's power. The next video is an anniversary piece, March 21st.
Alright, so Evan's been here for a week or two now, and I don't know. Just making sure he's not coming down the stairs. And I've had a pretty crazy idea the last couple of days, and I kind of want your feedback on it. I mean, we're not getting anywhere. We're not learning anything, and I feel like we're just sitting ducks at this point. I know it sounds crazy, but I think we should try and summon the thing that takes over Evan. I mean, he at least talks. It's better than nothing, right? I don't know. What do you guys think, honestly? Am I nuts? I think I may have found exactly what I was looking for when I went to the bookstore. I found a book, which first of all, I thought was weird. The only reason I picked it up was because some jackass employee sent me down to the wrong aisle, and then in the middle of the aisle I find an old book in a new bookstore. So I thought that was weird. And I picked it up, and I'm leafing through pages. And right here on page 188, I see something called Specific Entity Summoning, which basically tells me all about how to summon a specific entity, how to take it just out of wherever it is and bring it to you, which I thought was crazy. But there's also some other things in here that are crossed out, and someone has written in different instructions, which I don't even know what to make of that. But we have something. We have something.
Vinnie and Evan get to work quickly in the next video, a summoning. Evan obeys the instructions from the book, standing in a pose for an hour and 7 minutes wearing exotic clothing. Vinnie, standing by, experiences the effects of the ritual without warning, being warped into the house Habit used for his murders. He takes the camera and walks upstairs to the sound of music playing.
Vinnie! How are you? You doing good? Feeling sassy? Alright, excellent, excellent. How did this work for you? Did it work well? Huh? Were you able to get what you needed? Did he really stand there like this for an hour? Like the Statue of Liberty playing football?
In 7 minutes.
Yeah! An hour and 7 minutes. What a fucking idiot. Well, I guess you're both idiots. Not even so much him, more so you. I mean, he's broken. He's fucked up. There's really not a lot going on up there. But you only lost a couple of your friends in some of those horrible ways possible. But you're still pretty much all there. So I can't wrap my head around why you, someone who has suffered the least. Oh, well. Save for her. Don't worry, I put a rose. I can't wrap my head around why you, of all people, would come to me. You seem to be the smartest. No? No answers for me.
I'm just looking for answers.
You're looking for answers. Oh, you're looking for answers from me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a bad idea. Do you want me to tell you why that's a fucking bad idea? I'm sure you can imagine why it's a bad idea. In fact, do tell me, why is that a bad idea? Habit, this is why it's a bad idea. To come to you.
Gonna die?
Yes. Because you're gonna die. Because you're gonna die. You fucking idiot. You came and knocked on my door, Vinnie. You called me. I'm gonna break your arms first, then I'm gonna break your legs. And while you sit there screaming, I'm gonna disembowel you and you'll bleed to death. However, I can make it so that you bleed to death slowly. Now, that's the least creative way I have killed anybody. I mean, it's so basic and simple, but because of your stupidity, you don't get a fun death. You're not running. You're not screaming. Why do you just sit here?
You're the only one that talks. You're the only one that can answer.
Still think I'm going to answer your fucking questions. Determined. Resolute. Stuck on the one path. I'm going to go straight. I'm going to go straight. I'm going to go straight, and nothing is going to steer me off or wrong. I like that. I like that, Vinnie. You know, I need someone like that. Someone with a little bit of guts, a little bit of moxie. See, most of the people I know, most of my friends now, are either a horrible, deformed dog thing or a fucking stick in the mud who just doesn't have any taste for fun. But you do. I mean, shit. Look what you did. That's some fun shit. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna help you, Vin. I'm not gonna kill you. No, I'm gonna keep you around for a while. I'm gonna show you some things. Shit that would blow your fucking mind. Do you wanna know why I'm gonna do this? Say, Habit, why are you gonna do this?
Habit, why are you gonna do this?
Because I respect this. I find it brave. So, you stick around. I'll be back. I'm gonna have a little bit of fun. Hey, keep that, by the way, and keep it close. You never know when you might need it, alright? Pizza's in the oven. Money's on the table. Don't you go anywhere. Don't you wreck this house while I'm gone, little mister.
Wait. There's more than one roommate up. I saw it. Why?
Oh, Vinnie. We might have guests.
The first stop on Habit's path to guidance is the home of Vinnie's former girlfriend Lexi, who he and Evan discovered missing during Halloween Hangover. Habit instructs Vinnie to search Lexi's bedroom for clues and mentions that she was taking notes. Vinnie ends up finding them in one of her pillowcases, and there are a lot more notes than expected.
Always wearing a black suit. Nobody notices. Holy shit.
Sounds familiar, yeah. There you go.
Saw him again today watching me in cafe. Why didn't she tell me about this?
Sure she didn't?
Yeah.
Alright.
Never ever mentioned it.
That's odd.
But this last one, found camera. That was you, wasn't it?
How dare you? When would I do such a thing? How? Why?
We know you did it to us. We saw your cameras in our houses.
I am not a monster. Oh, man. I'm not gonna say I did or didn't put cameras in her house. Because maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. But the important thing is that people put cameras in people's houses to keep tabs on them. To spy on them. Somebody was after her. Now, whether it was me or not, I think it's besides the point. It doesn't matter. At least not for your lesson today. She was being hunted, Vinnie, by the same thing that was hunting you. What do you think about that?
I feel like it's my fault.
Hey, that's a very big thing to say. Look at you. Why do you think it's your fault?
Because it's been following me. For way longer than I've known her.
Exactly. And then you got to know her. While being hunted by something, you willingly allowed someone else to walk into the crossfire. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So, in essence, it is your fault, correct?
Yep. Is this why you brought me here?
No. Not your fault. Look at me. Not your fault. You can't blame yourself for the fact that she was eaten by a monster. Though, it being from the inside and not the outside. What happened when you came here?
Me and Evan.
Freudian slip.
Me and Evan walked in and, I don't know, there was shit in the sink. And he told me to leave.
Awesome. Shit in the sink. A bunch of black goo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Well, we definitely know whose trademark that is. So, we definitely know, without a doubt, that she was hunted by the big man sticking the mud. Do you know why he would go after her? And why he would start destroying her faster than he's destroyed your friends?
No. Why?
There are two kinds of people involved in this, Vinnie. People on the inside and people on the outside. She was a person on the outside. Jesselyn was a person on the outside. What are you?
Person on the inside.
Exactly. Bingo. You're not going to be destroyed right away. You're not going to be torn apart like a cheap toy. You're not going to be rotted from the inside out. Which is what makes you useful to me. Now, more importantly than that is the reason you, Vinnie, tried to protect your girl, correct?
Yeah.
By keeping yourself quite distant from her, by keeping her distant from everything else that was happening. Now, it didn't really work, but it's the thought that counts. Do you know why you did that? Because there's something very special about you. You are what we refer to as the Guardian. Tried to help her. Because you're a good person. There's something in there that we can't quite fuck with. Now, that is not useful to me and to us if you aren't able to deal with shit like this. More people are gonna dive in, and it's gonna be your fault. You understand? Or is it gonna be your fault?
Who else is there?
The monsters, Vin. Come on. You gotta be able to live with yourself after seeing all this shit. After being involved with the deaths of all these people, you have to be okay with it. Otherwise, you're never gonna get past it. There's gonna be a lot more blood. A lot more bodies before this is all over. And you have to be okay with that. Otherwise, you'll just end up being one of them.
That's what it takes.
That's a good man. So, what do you want to do now?
I want to take these and get the fuck out of here.
Already, Habit's beginning to clue us in on things we may have been missing. Like he told Jeff earlier in the torture room, Slender Man's methods involve attacking the guys through their loved ones. He will kill the people around them first, making them weak before striking. Anyone who's on the outside is vulnerable to attack. As for the people on the inside though, there's something about them that can't be messed with. It's time to go back to the information Habit provided us in Box 5, the Everyman play. With the events that have unfolded laid out in front of us, we can begin to interpret the message in Habit's symbolism. We have the Voyeur, the Firebrand, and the Guardian. The sequence of the play goes as follows. The Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian enter. From here, the Voyeur shall watch from an emotional distance, insisting upon maintaining their strength. The Firebrand shall disregard obvious danger and assume the role of force. The Guardian shall lose his heart and then his blood and fight to lose all he loves. The Voyeur shall remain idle to all who see, however busy he may be beneath. The Firebrand shall lead an offense as he might, only to succumb to the war within. The Firebrand shall defect and self-immolate, no longer defining the two within. The Guardian shall defy a god, only to be dealt a fatal blow, and the Voyeur shall swallow justice his sword. Their world shall perish, their world shall burn. The great flood shall wash away all the ash, readying the world for another greater cycle. In conjunction with the roles of Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian, we have the playing cards to deal with. Jeff is the Jack of Hearts. One heart has an arrow piercing it, while the other has been crossed out. Vinnie is the Jack of Clubs with an eye drawn in the middle. Evan is the Jack of Spades wielding a knife and a hatchet. Stephanie is the Queen of Clubs whose face has been scribbled out. Habit is the Joker, Dr. Corinthall is the Ace, and Slender Man is the King. What we're meant to do is interpret the true roles of all characters seen in the playing cards while reconciling them with the Everyman play's extra characters, Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian. There are a few ways to do this when it comes to what we've learned in the story. We'll go through the scenarios and logic behind them, starting with the most straightforward theory. In the beginning of the story, we had only 3 characters to truly care about and concern ourselves over: the guys. For this puzzle, it seems we're meant to stick to that because Stephanie, the Queen, has her face scribbled out. Stephanie doesn't matter. She's a non-issue. Habit has rendered her blind, deaf, mute, and censored because we're not meant to use her. That leaves us with Jeff, Vinnie, and Evan. Now, if you're going for attribution of Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian, it only makes sense to pin Vinnie as the Voyeur. He's the card with a giant eye drawn on it. Next to him, we have Evan wielding a knife and hatchet. It's very easy to see Evan as the Firebrand. He has always disregarded obvious danger and assumed the role of force whenever possible. He's also the only character we can truly describe as facing a war within. Evan has been living with Habit inside his brain, and quite recently, he self-immolated, no longer defining the two beings inside his one body. This leaves Jeff as the Guardian. Now, as we all just saw, Habit informed Vinnie that he's the Guardian, but that just doesn't seem right whatsoever. Remember, there are 2 distinct passages about the Guardian providing the best descriptions of what he experiences. The Guardian shall lose his heart and then his blood and fight to lose all he loves. The Guardian shall defy a god only to be dealt a fatal blow. The first person in the story of Everyman Hybrid to suffer is Jeff. Jessie, his girlfriend, goes missing, and from that entire plot point, we saw how much he loved her. Jessalyn was his heart, and he lost his heart. On the Jack of Hearts card with Jeff's name written on it, one of the hearts are crossed out. It's gone. Missing. That heart has been lost. The other heart has been pierced by an arrow, a deliberate, purposeful strike. Something that you can see was done intentionally, violently. After Alex lets Vinnie know about the Rake's prophecies in his dreams, Slender Man kills Alex and does so in a way that we witness the fresh aftermath. This isn't a case of Alex going missing as well or disappearing. It's a very deliberate, very open killing. The Guardian shall lose his heart and then his blood, and fight to lose all he loves. Jeff lost his heart, Jessie, and then lost his brother Alex, his blood. Then, just before we see Jeff kidnapped by Habit, he becomes optimistic again, joining Vinnie in the basement to reopen their investigation. After losing his heart and his blood, he kept going. And where does that lead him? Straight into the arms of Habit, who makes it very clear to Jeff that he has broken the natural flow and control of his game. The Guardian shall defy a god only to be dealt a fatal blow. What else can we describe Habit as other than a monster? A god, of course. His power is beyond anything this world knows. And what is it that Habit tells Jeff about the losses that he suffered?
How many people have you lost? How many bodies have we taken from you? All torn apart. A few, more than a few. Doesn't matter. Wounds to the heart. They never heal.
Wounds to the heart, just like we see on Jeff's playing card. Just like the Guardian experiences in the play. And who created those wounds? The big bad stick in the mud, Slender Man.
That's why we waited. We wanted to pulverize you. Punish you. Wanted to make y'all squishy. It was, you could think, his attempt to break you. That stick in the mud. See, he hates that he can't control you. He can control lots of people, if you knew that. Not you, no. Not you. Not Steph. Not Corinthall. That's why he punishes them. Takes everything from them. Children. Family. Friends. Pets. Well, that was really his department, but still. They can't get to you. Something about you just fights it. Now, do you know why he would go after her? And why he would start destroying her faster than he's destroyed your friends?
No. Why?
There are two kinds of people involved in this, Vinnie. People on the inside and people on the outside. She was a person on the outside. Jesselyn was a person on the outside. What are you?
Person on the inside.
Exactly. Bingo. You're not going to be destroyed right away. You're not going to be torn apart like a cheap toy. You're not going to be rotted from the inside out. Because there's something very special about you. You are what we refer to as the Guardian. Tried to help her. Because you're a good person. There's something in there that we can't quite fuck with.
And finally, about that name for the role, the Guardian. After losing Jessa, Jeff fought to find her and get her back. Then, when he realized she was dead, he tried very hard to protect his brother, Alex. During signs of danger, he told Alex to stand back, to stay away. When Jeff realized Evan might be dangerous, he told Alex to stop hanging out with him. And beyond all that, Jeff tried to protect Jessa too, even before she disappeared. Do you remember the necklace he showed us way back during one of the live streams? He said he planned to give it to Jessa as a gift, and while the hand pendant seemed a little odd for a present, he did say Jessa was kind of weird and he loved her for it. On Stephanie's blog, right after Jessa went missing, she posted the following. Thinking of hanging these around the place. I hope they work? I am hoping they do. She's been gone a while now. A week later, someone asked Stephanie what those little stones with the hands on them are and if they stand for anything. Stephanie's response? Back home, there was this nice old lady who ran this souvenir/antique place. She had a sense of sophistication but spoke with an odd accent. The store wasn't very profitable, but her husband was well off, so it was literally a labor of love. I haven't seen her in quite some time or any of her relatives. She told me that they were meant as a sign of protection. Hell if I know. The necklace Jeff bought was a protection charm for Jesselyn to wear, and the secret behind the symbol was hidden on Can You See the Words for us to find. Jeff had tried to protect Jessa, his heart. He tried to protect Alex, his blood. And he lost both. Then, even when the Guardian had been wounded, he kept going, only to lose everything he loved and die at the hands of a god. And beyond the comparisons of the Guardian to Jeff, we have more evidence that draws Vinnie to the voyeur besides the image of an eye on his playing card. The voyeur shall watch from an emotional distance, insisting upon maintaining their strength. When first facing the reality of their situation early in the story, Jeff tells the gang he wants to quit. He's too freaked out by what's happening. Vinnie is adamant about continuing on. If they stop now, whoever's tormenting them will win. Then, just before the firebrand self-immolates and succumbs to his demon, we learn, the voyeur shall remain idle to all who see, however busy he may be beneath. In the video Dead End with a Pulse, Jeff goes to Vinnie's house to reveal all the information that he's been compiling on their case. We may not have seen Vinnie do any of this until now, but clearly he's been working on finding out what's happening to them. Now, we haven't seen Vinnie swallow Justice's sword, which may have much darker connotations, but the final act has only just begun. If Habit's play is actually a prophecy, it is still in motion. The alignment of Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian lines up very well with the playing card assignments. We've seen the events described and the titles of the roles fit each character. The only issue now is a point brought up earlier about the Everyman character. Habit has done a very good deal to link Vinnie to the role of the Everyman. If he's playing the Everyman, how can he also be the Voyeur? This is the one problem that throws everything we've just established into a tailspin, resulting in a few more theories and branching paths of possibilities. The first possibility goes hand in hand with the straightforward approach that assigned the roles of Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian. Vinnie can be both the Everyman and the Voyeur, but only if Jeff and Vinnie are the Everyman too. Together, the three of them may form an Everyman hybrid. Vinnie Everyman might be your base model, but Evan and Jeff are needed to complete the image. Just look at the way the series has been titled. Everyman Hybrid, with the hybrid portion capitalized as if it's making a very important statement. Now, is there a way to reconcile this theory with what we learned from the guys who sat around the candles? Yes, there is. While the group in this universe has a lot more knowledge of everything going on, they don't seem to be fully aware. Vinnie's premonition of something big coming is vague, and Evan doesn't completely understand what Habit is doing for his contest. The guys may be under the impression that Vinnie alone is the Everyman while all three of them are actually needed together for the role. In this way, the definition of an Everyman for whatever game is being played comes down to equal parts Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian. The other alternative is that Vinnie really is the Everyman and he doesn't fulfill any other role. That would leave Jeff, Evan, and Stephanie open to assume the titles of Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian. And Stephanie actually works very well as the Voyeur. From the moment we meet her, she's off on her own, keeping herself at an emotional distance to the situation regarding Slender Man, attempting to stay strong. In doing so, she watches the world around her, observing without interacting. The other piece about the Voyeur that works for Stephanie is in regards to swallowing Justice's sword. As we saw, Habit killed Stephanie but made sure to viciously kill her baby in front of her first. Stephanie may be suffering punishment for her lack of action when it comes to everything going on. She stayed at home, blogging away, giving vague answers when she responded to questions and ignoring many others. Then, even when taken in by the guys, she couldn't offer any help and continued to stay out of sight of the camera. She wasn't doing anything. We didn't see her doing anything helpful and barely saw her at all. But that might be the actual point here. The Voyeur shall remain idle to all who see, however busy he may be beneath. This works incredibly well for Stephanie. Or it would if it weren't for the part about he being busy. Habit has designated the Voyeur as a male. And this brings us to the final major issue. Habit, our unreliable narrator. We know that Habit has been guiding events all along and constructing a narrative of his own. We're following his vision, not the true events without interference. It's only because of Habit we're even dealing with this whole Voyeur, Firebrand, and Guardian and playing cards mess. And in attempting to assign roles based on evidence, we come to one very solid conclusion. When you try to reconcile character role theories with what Habit told Vinnie about being the Guardian, none of it works. By all accounts of what we've seen, supported by the symbols Habit gave us and the descriptions he wrote, Vinnie can't be the Guardian. He doesn't fit the description, and because we're already in the final act, the Guardian is dead and gone. He should not be up and walking around now on camera. The Firebrand has already self-immolated, revealing himself to be a violent god in disguise, and Jeff, the protector who lost heart and blood, already died at his hands. Habit is lying to Vinnie and to us. Big surprise, I know, but it's not entirely clear what precisely he's lying about. For all we know, Vinnie actually might be the Guardian and Habit just lied to us about everything inside of Box 5. Or the contents of the box could be true and Habit is lying to Vinnie for his own reasons, which is more likely. And of course, he might also be lying about the Voyeur needing to be a male. After all the evidence we've compiled, I'm much more inclined to say that Habit is lying to Vinnie while telling us the truth, however. We've already seen the prophecy written in the Everyman play come to pass. It matches the playing cards and characters whose names were written on them too well. And knowing Habit's behavior, it would be just like him to make us watch Vinnie be led astray while we know the truth. Habit wants us to watch these guys suffer, and he'll do his best to make sure that happens right in front of us. So with all the info collected and put together, we now face 5 versions of the Everyman play theory in descending order of probability. 2 on the condition that Habit is lying to Vinnie, 1 on the condition that he's lying to us, 1 on the condition that he's lying to everyone, and a final theory based on the condition that he's telling everyone the truth. If Habit lied to Vinnie but told us the truth, it means Jeff is the Guardian, Evan is the Firebrand, and Vinnie is the Voyeur. Together, they form the character of Everyman. In this scenario, the Everyman character is a hybrid of the 3 roles that Habit outlined, which explains the odd capitalization of their channel name. The hybrid part is slightly more important for viewers to study than the Everyman half. This also means the playing cards fit for our entire cast because Stephanie isn't a part of the hybrid. She doesn't apply to this, which is why her face has been blacked out. If Vinnie is the Everyman and can't be anything else, it means that Stephanie is the Voyeur while Jeff is still the Guardian and Evan is still the Firebrand. Habit probably lied about the Voyeur needing to be male, and if he did, that means Stephanie is definitely the Voyeur, and she'd be an even closer fit for the role than Vinnie is at this time. We've already seen her punished for standing by and not doing enough to fix their problems. The Voyeur has swallowed the sword of justice. Habit could have blacked out her face in the playing cards and claimed the Voyeur is a male so we don't solve the puzzle entirely, which means his game continues and the show can go on while the guys remain clueless, as do we. If we did figure it out ourselves even with one of Habit's lies in the mix, he'd probably want us to come to the realization too late to help the crew. If Habit is telling Vinnie the truth, it means that he's been lying to us and we can't trust a single thing from Box 5. The roles cannot be trusted. The definitions are false or they've been switched around between characters. Habit may also be committing a double bluff. He might be lying to all of us at once and there are even more sick surprises in store for the sake of the show. And finally, Habit may be telling Vinnie the truth and didn't lie to us either. The only way this is possible is if Vinnie has somehow ended up in a brand new iteration where he'll be playing the role of the Guardian. This just doesn't seem to be the case though. It's still the same old Vinnie we've had all along, and Habit just declared we've entered the final act of his show. When we reach an ending, when that finale comes, he is going to let us know it in a very big way. Again, the highest probability is that the Everyman play theory stands. Either Vinnie is both Voyeur and Everyman, making him 1/3 of a hybrid with Jeff and Evan, or he alone is the Everyman and Stephanie is the Voyeur. It all depends on how much information Habit's given that you can believe, and because the series is ongoing, we may have clues come down in the future that ties this together perfectly. But for now, we do have to work with what we have seen and what Habit has given us. By his definitions through the playing cards and the 3 roles for his script, the first possibility is most likely to be correct. Vinnie had an eye drawn on his card, Stephanie's face was blacked out, and all 3 of the guys are represented as Jacks. 3 of a pair, even if they're different suits. The misunderstanding on behalf of the guys in whatever universe they're in while sending around candles may explain why the iteration cycle is continuing. If they don't understand they're all the Everyman, they're no closer to breaking the cycle. But if they're right, it explains why Stephanie being missing from the circle is a problem. Without her, their set just isn't complete and they may need all 4 of them together to complete their unknown task. Is all of this a lot more complicated than we ever suspected? You bet it is. Thankfully, Vinnie kept the camera rolling during his adventures with Habit, which means we can continue to pile evidence and solve this case. But for tonight, our detective work is at an end. There's not much more of Everyman Hybrid to explore at this stage. We're finally homing in on the truth. Or maybe that's just what Habit wants us to think. Our investigation will continue next time in the final installment of Everyman Hybrid Explained. If you've enjoyed this latest episode, you can let me know by clicking the like button and can leave a comment below as well. Make sure to subscribe so you can catch the finale of Everyman Hybrid Explained when it arrives, and be sure to subscribe to the actual Everyman Hybrid channel here on YouTube. If you've enjoyed what's been covered here, it's important to show some love for the original channel that has worked so hard to bring this series to life. You can also keep up with me on Twitter and Tumblr as we work our way through the rest of the Slenderverse. We're almost out of the deep woods, and there's a whole expansion of the Night Mind channel waiting on the other side for 2016. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and like a mystery that just refuses to be ignored, I'll be back again real soon. Sleep tight.